Hello, dear viewer and listener, and welcome to Bergkamp Wonderland. We are formally an Arsenal podcast. I don't think that came out right, did it? So we have history in the making here. Not only were we the first people to do a live show after a game, not only were we the first podcast to do live video, not only were we the first podcast to do a live listeners phone in. I think that last one is a lie. I think Arsblog did that. Now we broke the internet. We've got two people on from Norwich at the same time. Holy moly. I know. I honestly never thought this day would come. So here he is, our very own hero. It's Ellis Smell. Right, Ellis?
Don't talk it up, mate. I'll start going all jittery and then you won't be able to hear me. Or probably already doing it now. Who knows? It could go any minute now.
Do you want to tell the wonderful listeners on the other Thursday when people was meant to go out the front of their house and applaud the workers in the NHS, what message did I send to you?
You said you weren't going to applaud me because you had to put up with my rubbish Wi-Fi, which I thought was a bit mean. And
then what did you say you would do for me? And did you?
I said I'd applaud for you, but I might not have done it yet.
You absolute arse.
Here you go. Key worker.
As you are an expert on all things COVID, we have someone at ABW has asked us, is there much scurvy going around? I'm not going to tell you who asked, but it was someone we all know, want to know scurvy. He's a bit worried.
I think there's one person in ABW with it, but I can't really say much for people in Norfolk at the moment.
Oh dear, bloody land lovers. Right, also, the other man from Norwich, as we mentioned, one down there. Is he awake? Is he awake?
Yes.
There he is.
Yes, I'm awake.
It's Twitch's number one gooner. It's Nicky or Nick. No, I keep going to say Nicky because it used to say Nicky Wilson on there. Now it just says Nick Fights. So here he is. It's Nick. You all right, mate?
All right, Danny. How you
doing, mate? Good. He loves us all so much that whenever I go in his Twitch, he has the scene from Alan Partridge where he goes Dan, and he's got one just for Kris where it's the Pirates of the Caribbean intro. It's just absolutely brilliant. Kris is in the. Oh, there we go. Look, he's been in charge. He's got the sword of power on the Twitch. Also, we've got from up the grim north. We're not saying where. Top secret. It's Josh. All right, Josh.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I've kind of confused everybody by changing my location within the same room that I used to podcast from. So unfortunately, you can now see no lower than my nipples.
And no chance of any helmet action. That's what all the ladies want to know.
Well, play cards right, maybe.
You have to go, but you've not been riding your bike for a while, have you? So there's probably no.
Say that. I was out a couple of days ago, spinning around. If anyone wants to stalk me, they'll find out where I live from that. But please don't stalk me. It's not worth it. Stay indoors.
I doubt any of the three people who follow your Instagram really care because I'm one of them and I don't.
Yeah, true. Ellis is the other one. And maybe Kris. So,
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go and say hello to the people that have been kind enough to stop what they're doing in their busy lives of doing fuck all.
Who's Kris yet?
That's fine. Don't introduce me. Go fuck yourself. No problem at all. That's fine.
Come on, Danny. Danny, you've upset enough people on the podcast at the moment.
See, my brain has done the. I've talked about Pirate. I've talked about him having scurvy secretly, and I've talked about him being in charge on Twitch. But what I haven't done is introduced him. Here he is. He's everyone's favourite pirate, the man, the myth, the sword-wielding legend. It's Kris Carpenter, everybody. Round of applause, everybody. That's that done. You all right, Kris?
Dong. I'm good. Yeah. No, I'm fine. Apart from the person who sort of said should we do a podcast wasn't even introduced. I mean, that's all good. I know my place in life. I understand it. No, I'm fine. And I have to say, I'm enjoying Josh's Instagram. Actually, he's very creative with it. You know, just sort of like a hint of a wheel of a bike and then a nice area in front, like in a green area. It's all very artistic. Whereas I just
love a stone bridge, doesn't he?
It's very Dickleby.
Yeah, it is. It is. I just tend to just slap my sweaty face up on mine, which is fun. But yeah, in fact, I got home from a run about an hour ago and I haven't changed. So you can only imagine how I smell.
Someone that we all know who's not part of AVW sent me a screen grab of your Instagram, Kris, with you topless and went, "What the fuck is this? Why can we see his nipples?"
Hang on a minute. Who sent you that? That's quite concerning.
Confidential information, but their fellow podcasters, and they might well be in America.
Right.
One of them it was.
Right. I see. I mean, what can I say? I'm doing my little bit for the ladies and transgender people in the world. That's what I'm here to do.
I agree completely. Right, so we have the first person in. It was me. Then it was the pod. Then it was a grumpy gooner. Where would it be 3:30 in the world now? I don't know.
Canada, surely.
Oh, there you go, Canadian.
USA.
Stephen Mills. Then there's our Steph. And then there is Big Bunny Kane, because I put it in the FIFA, not FIFA group, what's it called? The Rooting, Tooting, Shooting Gaming group. So go in there and go give this a thumbs up. And so they both popped in. And then there's Josh moaning at me, quite rightly true. There's Archie. I watched A Few Good Men the other day. Tom Cruise, absolute quality, better than the dross we see now. I heard someone the other day, he dismissed me because I said I like Tom Cruise. Besmirched my good name. That wasn't fair.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, I said I recently watched, the last couple of years, watched all the Mission Impossible films. I thought they were brilliant. The first ones are dated, though, but we'll get to that. Anyway, Phil Macker, this better be good. As I've switched off the Midsummer's Murders halfway through for this, just probably turn it back on now. That's the only advice I've got for you. Archie, if that's an indicator of what people will say. Oh, there you go. So Antonia's block, 5:30 a.m. here. Where would that be? That's going to be somewhere in the bottom half of the globe, isn't it? Thank you.
Yes.
No one knows.
I said yes.
History Hunter says good evening. Steph says Kris is probably playing FUT. Well, he's not bored yet. Give him time. He will.
No. I'm not playing FUT because just for a change, the servers are down at EA Sports. Not that ever happens. Only pretty much every day.
Don One says hello, my beauties. I've not been highlighting this. Alonso says hi, chaps. Very nice of you. La-di-la-di-la-di-la. Try and go. Oh, look! It's our Shredder. There he is.
Oh, the shreds.
He is also a key worker, so he told me, working hard, having to leave the house, which is always... I wouldn't fucking do it. I've even said to the offspring, don't you dare come back here. You're living in the shed for a month just to be safe. And then Shredder again says, hey, lads. Right. We were the last podcast we were going to do 7 minutes in, Jesus. We were going to do games, films, and TV, and we just waffled on and only did games. So this one, hopefully, it's going to be films and TV, but likely it's just going to be films, and it'll be a third part in the trilogy, which will just be TV. We'll have to see how we get on. Oh, here we go. Jason says, but my company is essential. There you go. Told you it was. Who should we start? Who's been the quiet? Ellis. Ellis can go first. I was thinking, what 3 films, if you see them on the telly, will you automatically stop and watch them no matter what part of the film they're in? That, for me, is a sign that you love the film. Have you anyone got any ideas? I've written my ones down. Ooh. Ellis is looking confused.
I haven't written anything down in preparation for this podcast.
I didn't tell
you. Cool. Yeah. I'm very simple, as you probably all know. I'm easily pleased.
You've pulled your own pants down there.
I'd probably say one of my favourite Marvel films, which will probably be one of the Infinity ones, either probably Endgame or Thor Ragnarok.
Which is the one where they all die in the end?
That's Infinity War, and is it Infinity War? I don't know which one. Yeah. And then Endgame's when they all come back and they do like the time travel weird thing.
For anybody that hasn't seen those films, we totally recommend them, but no spoilers.
we just saved you 6 hours of frustration.
I mean, they don't all come back.
Oh, no, you've definitely given
Iron Man definitely doesn't die.
Spoilers are off.
Shredder says Godfather 2. Archie says Terminator 2, Rocky 2, Shawshank Redemption. 2 of those I agree with. Oh, here we go. Shredder with Anchorman. Magnificent. I mean, the first one, that's one of the films. You can watch it any way through. Big Bunny Kane says anything with James Bond, apart from the Mega Drive game. Oh, that's James Pond, wasn't it? That's no good. Phil Macker, I'm giving you thinking time, Ellis. Phil Macker says Serendipity, The Accidental Tourist, and Aspidestry Flying Big Blue Ford. Yeah, I think you made the last one up. Bunny.
That's a very niche. That's very niche, that list, by the way. That's proper hipster. I like that.
I think he's showing off. And Bunny Kane says, asking Shredder, where has he been? He's been a busy man. That's where he's been. He's been in touch with us. We speak to him almost on a daily basis. So he's good. And Stefan says, I watched all of the Star Wars this weekend.
Stefan has never seen Star Wars until that point.
Yeah, what weird.
Also point that out.
I've only seen some of them. You got any more, Ellis?
Yeah. Childhood favourite, Space Jam. Gotta be. Love that film. I could watch that at any point, at any time, during any day.
Didn't they recently remake it?
I think they're going to try to with LeBron James, is the rumours, but whether that'll happen or not, who knows. And then, yeah, probably Stefan saved me there with a Star Wars film, probably one of the original trilogies, more so than the new stuff that's come out. Not too keen on that.
Is that it?
That was free, wasn't it?
Well, okie dokie. Kris, you look like you're a man who's got a list in your head itching its way to get out.
Yeah, that's just the itching is in general.
Hold on. Phil Mack has put, did I confuse you, Danny, by not using commas? That's why that was a very long title. Oh, let's go back and see if I can put some commas in his film. Okay, Serendipity. It's not actually a film called Serendipity, the Accidental Tourist, the Flying Aspidistra, flying the big blue Ford Paris Interstellar. Because that, wasn't there a...
There's a film called Interstellar, so we can at least crop that out for you.
That's the bookcase film. Seen that? Oh, I don't know. He's going to have to put that again in with proper apostrophication. Kris, go
on. Did you say favourite of all time? Did you say at this point?
3 films that are nice of you to keep up. 3 films on the issue. 3 films that it could be on TV at any point, and you go, "I'll watch that." You know, like most films, you'll only watch them from the beginning to end.
Yeah, that kind of does bleed into favourites of all time, doesn't it? Because if you're watching, I mean, anything from the Alien franchise is going to be a must for me, just because they are my favourite films of all time anyway. Jaws, 100%. If Jaws is on, I mean, you just have to. It's the law.
Hold on, Kris, you've been bullied. Big Bunny Kane. Kris only watched Pirates of the Caribbean, and Josh has put, don't forget Treasure Island.
And also, I've also got Hook.
Hook is a quality film. That's such an underrated film.
It is. Other than that, I mean, ones that are just on, like, that are not, I don't know, that are not fair. I like horror films, so anything that is a proven classic. I'm quite a big fan of like the what do you call it, like the psychological thriller kind of films. But yeah, anything sci-fi or horror, if it's on, I'll generally tend to watch it. Probably the only other one that I'd say, if it's on, like when you sort of flick on, you're like, I'll watch Jurassic Park. I mean, always, if it's on, you just have to, don't you? But yeah, any film that you can turn on 20 minutes in and know that you're going to have to watch it all through, that's a classic right there. So yeah, that's probably my 3 in that regard, I'd say.
Phil Macker has tried for a second time and fucked it up. And then finally, his third rendition is going to be all the apostrophes: Serendipity, not seen; Accidental Tourist, not seen; Keep the Aspidistra Flying. He's made that one up. The Big Blue, which isn't that I'd imagine that is either about Microsoft, no, IBM, or the sea. We'll never know. Forget Paris. I might have seen that and forgotten. And Interstellar, which was it was good. Got slated in a few places, but you have to watch it all the way through and then go, oh, there you go. Josh, you look like a man who's eager to spout some wise words.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I think we haven't podcasted for a while, if you think that.
This is literally going to be the most hipstery version films that we've never heard
will
of.
all be black and white Belgian films dubbed into Japanese.
And then dubbed back into French.
Obviously.
That's what, yeah. Come on, Danny. Come on. I mean, if I was flicking through and I saw Shark in Venice on there, that is a film anybody needs to watch because it is as terrible as it sounds. It has got one of the Baldwin brothers in it who's made up to look like Daniel Craig. And there's sharks in Venice. And at one point, a giant shark jumps out and bites someone off the bridge. One of the bridges, I don't know, it's loads in Venice, but worth a watch.
Sounds amazing.
It is. It's incredible. Oh, and it's a B movie as well. One of my favourite parts is a scuba diver swims around the corner, and then to show that he's been got by the shark, they reverse the footage in super speed to make him look like he's pulled around the corner. And just for that moment alone, you're like, this is a great film. Great film. What else would I have in there? I think Anchorman is also another classic you can come into. I think anything with Will Ferrell is kind of just jump into it, grab a couple of the one-liners you forgot where they came from. You know, same with like Step Brothers, Blades of Glory, Anchorman 2. You've got all of those kind of films you can jump into. Oh, Zoolander, he's in that. Just Dodgeball, another one of those kind of trashy films. Proper one, any Star Wars. I'll jump into that.
Let's just dig into that one a little bit. When you say any Star Wars,
I'll jump into the Phantom Menace.
Oh God, okay. Can
your favourite character as well, isn't he?
No, Darth Maul. I'm so confused. I watched Solo 2 nights before, and I didn't understand what Darth Maul was doing in it. So confused.
Now.
I don't understand Darth Maul. Full stop. See, for me,
don't have to. That's the beauty of him.
I have to get Nicky's thoughts on this because I have a feeling he's a man with taste. You can't put the prequels into that mix. You just can't. And maybe I'm the only one of the group of us, or maybe in the world. Was it Rogue One, the one that everyone creamed about? I found it incredibly boring.
The one that you knew the ending of.
Yeah.
But then that's like all the prequels. You know what the ending is.
The best part of Rogue One is
when the first bit.
Darth Vader just goes mental.
Yeah.
Right, that is literally the best part.
Rogue One was a bit slow, had pacing issues, but the last half hour was really good. It's just really slow in the middle, and that's one of the things I like in movies. It's got to have good pacing, so you don't, especially nowadays, more than ever when you've got like Twitter and Facebook and everything on your phone. If you're not paying attention to a boring bit, you might as well turn the film off.
Yeah, that is true. If your mind wanders, where do you sit on the prequels, Nicky? Are you kind of?
They're okay, but then I watched them all out of order. So I mean, I watched the first.
You watched them all while standing naked outside of a school.
Pretty much
out of order.
Yeah. Well, no, I watched Return of the Jedi first. Then I watched the prequels, and then I got the rest of them on DVD. So yeah, they're not as good as the originals, but I don't mind Phantom Menace because I had the old podcast racing and stuff like that, and some of the lightsaber fights were pretty decent. But yeah, it's just like anything. You wait that long for a new film, it's going to disappoint, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say the current ones are kind of disappointing as well.
The last two. The
post-prequel, sequel ones, whatever that is. The J.J. Abrams trilogy. It's awful.
It's a little bit like podcasting with Danny, isn't it? You know, he makes it out to be this wonderful thing, creates the wonderful idea and the vision, and then ultimately it just disappoints you when you.
Well, Josh, you can't really blame JJ because he didn't do the middle one.
No, that's true. And then he tried to bring it all back.
That was Brian Johnson, and I don't think he watched any other Star Wars or looked at what JJ was doing in the Force Awakens, because he set like at the stall, answered loads of questions, for us to answer. Well, who's this? Why is this person like this? Who's the bad guy? And then in the next one, he went, "Nah, ignore all that crap, and I'll just get Mark Hamill to suck off a cow." and that's what he did. He sucked off a cow.
Episode 8 summed up in perfectly there by Nicky.
Yes, but he did. He did suck off a cow. You can't say he didn't.
Nicky, you've been called up by a big bunny cane. You did say podcast racing rather than pod racing.
I've been up since 4
Same
o'clock.
thing,
Shut up, Kane.
We've got royalty amongst us. I noticed there, Danny. A certain Canadian Wonderman is in the house. There he is.
We have got 2 of our 3 colonials there. We're just missing one who's busy counting all of his dollary dues. But yeah, we've got him. And we've got Shredder. People, if you're watching this on Twitch and wondering why no notifications are coming up, we're using software called StreamYard. And it just means we can stream from that to YouTube and to Twitch at the same time. So our people are moderating in there, but it doesn't let us know if you have subscribed or followed or whatever. What is it with this channel? It's followed on Twitch. So Gamer1032 followed us 10 minutes ago. Thank you very much. And Shrunken Steam has also followed us 5 minutes ago. Oh, here we go. And Smooth Jazz _ has just followed. Oh, wow, there's another one. Yeah, and that person followed, and Gimpo Shrimpo. Wasn't that the bloke in the film with Boris Gump? Boris Gump.
Boris Gump.
Is it? Boris Gump. Isn't that the bloke who had the Shrimpo? Gimpo Shrimpo. I'm sure it was. Oh, and here we go. Got No Juice. There you go. They've also followed, because it's subscribe on YouTube and follow on there. Unlike every other Twitch channel in the world, we do not want your money. If you have any Prime subs, go give them to someone else. You can't donate anywhere. We don't want it. We're not in this to make money. There's plenty of people who do this for a living, like our mate Cripsy in Australia, who's an absolute legend at this. So go give him your money. Everyone wondered.
And thank you. Yeah.
Yes, hold on. Going to get rid of that. And also, if you listen at the beginning, you may well know a certain Mr. Nick Fights. There's no underscore there, is there? So if a Scottish person was there, would they go Nick Fights? So you might need to put a bit of an abbreviation in there. Also, Nick does Twitch, as you may well know, because I'm constantly tweeting it to 35,000 people on Twitter. And what happened last time I did that, Nick?
I lost 2 follows.
He lost 2 followers.
The impact of Danny right there.
You're out. Talk about that. So if you also go and give him you can put your Twitch into our Twitch, Nick, and Twitch it. You Twitch it?
Sounds disgusting, Danny.
You put your Twitch it out and let everyone see. Oh Jesus! Right, Big Buddy Kane says, "Shut up, Ellis." Thank you. If Carl was here, Carl would back that up with "fuck Ellis."
Naturally,
not, we won't. Boris Gump. I can't believe I said that.
I've got a question for the panel, so I'll just wade in here. I'll ask Josh first of all. Guilty pleasure, just the one. It can be like, and it has to be. Not just, oh, yeah, that's all right. It has to be full cheese. Like, what is your cheesiest film that you like to watch? Rom-com or something?
I don't know, because I die on this hill. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Oh, that's not cheese. That's a classic.
I mean, it is pretty cheesy. Says The Mask. It's pretty cheesy.
But it's still good. It's still good now.
Okay.
White Chicks. I fucking love White Chicks. Watched that the other day.
There you go. Ellis is in. That's it. You're in the mix. Why, Ellis? Please explain.
I don't know what it is. It's just so shit that it's funny. Like, we're watching it, like what's his face? Terry Crews, the guy with the fucking massive pecs, singing that. I don't know how the song goes with the piano. Like, do and I missed you. That one.
Vanessa Carlton.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And just 2 black guys dressed up as white people acting like white girls. I just find it hilarious. Probably wouldn't get away with it now in this day and age.
I was going to say, you wouldn't get away with that now, would you?
No, not white up, but I love it. Definitely my guilty pleasure.
Have you seen that comment, Josh?
I can see a comment. I don't understand it. Who's Vsauce?
He's a bloke on YouTube who explains how things work, and he looks just like you.
Oh, okay. What a poor fellow.
One of the biggest channels on YouTube. He's brilliant. I don't watch him because I'm clever at things.
Wow. So tell you a fact. I keep getting told off. A what fact?
A bike fact.
Mine's got 22 gears on it.
22?
22.
My chair has 1.
It's not a bike though, is it?
I'm on a hill and I've got 2 because the other one's backwards.
Come on then, Josh. Find another cheese.
Another cheesy film?
Yeah. Look at that. Shredder comes in with a notebook. I mean, that's full. That's full, limp wrist there. That is full.
Bad day, he puts that on and he has a little cry, and then he has 10 beers and he feels better.
When you say has a little cry, does he use those tears for something else during it? Probably. I'd imagine so.
I'm not going to presume. If you've seen Shredder, you don't presume anything with him because he'll murder you in your sleep.
It's only on his own account,
this is a film that I'm kind of embarrassed that I like to watch.
Yeah.
No.
Just to give you more time, Josh. Okay. I don't think you look anything like Vsauce. That's a bit harsh. You're not that bored yet.
Look at them coming in now. That OG's weighed in with Pitch Perfect. I mean, that's right on the edge.
Perfect, no way.
I think it's because I'm not at the stage yet to have like kids in the house and go, oh yeah, I kind of enjoy that film, but I shouldn't enjoy it in the kind of like Moana kind of.
Shut up, Moana's quality.
Yeah,
see, exactly.
It's a kids film. All right, we'll give you some more thinking time, Nicky.
Cool.
Nicky hasn't done his. Did you do your films, Nick? The ones you'll watch if they're on?
Oh, you won't let me, so I've got to do guilty pleasure. So
do which films are on first.
You can do both, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I like Grease. I don't know if that counts as guilty pleasure.
That's classic.
Grease. All Dirty Dancing.
Day dancing, flashback, flash dance, flashback. That's a game.
No. Yeah, I like those two because I like to. Because my mum don't like a lot of films, but she liked Grease. So I remember when we were younger, like when I was younger, maybe 2 weeks ago, we were watching it on TV for the old lockdown, singing it together. So that was nice.
Liking that.
Yeah. So I did. Unlike you, I did come prepared with films. Look.
Oh,
he said 3. So. Well, that's Lord of the Rings out because that's 3 films on their own. And he's put pictures.
This is what happens, people. When you come prepared, you get the big screen.
Although is that the extended version where you have to change the disc halfway
Yep,
through?
so I can't watch that on the film, on the TV, because they don't put them on the extended editions. Kill Bill 1 and 2.
Chris is turning round. He's got a stack of cardboard behind him.
Trilogy.
We're
But if I had to
flexing.
pick obviously,
I love
Dark
those
Knight,
films. Those films, Nick, they're 3 of the greatest films ever made.
Pulp Fiction,
Cult classic.
and classic Goodfellas.
I'll stick to the pizzas.
Yeah. Oh, for God's sake.
So there you go. So,
if
oh,
we're
Chris is now.
flexing,
Chris wants to go big screen.
that's the Prometheus to Alien Evolution limited edition box. There wasn't many of these made.
Is this
And
why
I got
you
this
living
one for me.
on Sainsbury's spaghetti hoops every day for dinner?
No, I got this as a gift. This was given to me as a gift. Prometheus is obviously not the best film, but all of the Alien films on Blu-ray, and yeah, it's got like the whole set. All that. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not because it's shiny.
Yeah, you can.
But so it's Alien and Prometheus, Aliens.
Not even
Aliens
undone
Resurrection.
them.
No, they're all. This has never actually come out of its sleeve. It comes with like film. There's like a
Oh,
like,
It really did grow back, didn't it?
original artwork and everything. There's loads of stuff. But yeah, I
Open
have.
it.
No.
See, I don't have anything like that because I've decided that one day when I die, all my good stuff will go in a skip out the front of my house and be burned. So I don't know.
You don't need to skip.
Chris,
You don't need to skip.
Chris, you watched that Prometheus, did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Question: When that big like thing's fallen over, why didn't they just run to the
Runs to the
side?
left. Right. Yeah. It's one of film's great mysteries. Why does Charlize Theron not able to run sideways?
Yeah.
In theory, it wouldn't have made a difference because a ship that size probably would have caved in the ground and she'd have gone in with it anyway. So, but it's kind of like that. It's the same thing in horror movies. Why do they always go upstairs? I mean, what a stupid idea. Like, but
When
if
people
they did,
say that, I go because it makes the film more interesting. It's the plot.
It's because that's where the toilet is.
that's also true. But no, I think from the sci-fi standpoint, Prometheus got a bit of a raw deal. The problem with this probably bleeds into another conversation. The problem with films like that is when you've got a hit film. The Terminator franchise is another brilliant example of this. You've got an absolute classic in the first one. You've got arguably a better sequel in the second one. Aliens is the same thing. And then you have that awkward third movie, which is either terrible or goes off a cliff. Then you've got someone trying to remake The Goodness to bring back a fourth. And now you've got the genre of the kind of the reboot or like the prequel films. And this is where probably Alien went a bit wrong because they wanted to make this Prometheus style film, this is where aliens came from, and they got it horribly wrong. The film itself is quite good. It's just not an alien film. And then Covenant just off the face of the earth. And then the same with the Terminator films. Genesis was awful. I haven't seen the new one, but I've not seen anyone say it's
I've seen the newest one.
Yeah.
The only thing was really good was the first like 5-10 minutes. Where I don't know if you basically the CGI in that, I think they spent all on that. They actually made like younger John Connor and Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
And so I just spoil the whole film.
Yeah.
The Terminator catches up with him, another Arnold Schwarzenegger, and just kills him anyway.
Yeah.
So it just ruins the whole second film.
And it's sort of like it's kind of dead knowing that Arnie is now in his 70s. Like that sort of kills it, doesn't it? He can't do what he did all those years ago. I don't know. I don't know where do we stand on Where do we stand? Let's ask Ellis, seeing as he's back from the loo. Where do you stand on
Did you wash your hands?
I did.
I didn't hear you saying happy birthday.
He's a pro.
You're a pro.
Where do you stand on prequels or remakes, Ellis? Do you like the idea of them having reboots and restarts, or you're not keen?
I'm happy with prequels. Obviously, they can go one of two ways and go a bit shit and not how you imagine, or they can be like perfect and exactly how you imagined, which doesn't seem to be the case at the moment. As for reboots, I just think they're happening a bit too much, like with all the Disney films, like The Lion King, Aladdin, all of that. Some of them have been quite good, don't get me wrong, like I love The Lion King, but it was literally just like the exact same film, just with animals that's lips could move, which is a bit creepy until you got used to that. But yeah, I think it's a bit, it all comes down to bias, doesn't it? If you like a film and it gets rebooted, you'll probably like it. But if it's a film you don't really care for, then you're probably going to think, no, what's the point? But if they did reboot Space Jam, I'd definitely be up for it.
There is talk of that, isn't there? There is talk of it. I don't think R. Kelly will be in this one, though, to be honest. I don't think he'll...
Depends on how old the female co-stars are. If they're under 13, he's up for it.
Let's move on. Josh,
before we go on, Chris, remind me, all of you, that's a really good question from Shredder.
It is, yeah.
We'll come back to that because it's blocking our screen.
We'll do that next, yeah.
Why don't you write it in the private chat, Danny? And then we'll
there you go. There you go.
You know,
I've just told all of you. I'm not going to bang away at the keyboard like an angry gibbon when you all know.
Well, I don't, so I put it in there.
I haven't even done my films yet. Go on.
Don't care.
Go on then.
Don't care. Well, Chris asked me a question. I forgot what it was.
Yeah, prequels or remakes. Where do you stand?
Yes. No, not all of them. Spider-Man needed a reboot. Spider-Man for Tom Holland. Yes, for Tom Holland.
Wasn't there like 2 in 18 months? I'm not a comic book nerd, so
yes.
I don't know. But
yeah, so you had Tobey Maguire. He was like the first modern one. Then it was... don't say it's terrible. Third one's awful, but the first 2 are great. Then he turns into... Is it Andrew Garfield?
Andrew Garfield, yeah.
Yeah, and then that one turns up for a bit, and he's in 2. Then you get... Do you then go to Tom Holland? Or do you get the Spider-Verse one?
No, Tom Holland was before the Spider-Verse because he appeared in that Captain America film, didn't he?
Civil War. That's the one.
But
Tom Holland's probably the best Spider-Man there. So yeah, it needed reboots to happen. I think most superhero reboots are generally required. But then you could also do on the flip side, the entire Wolverine saga. There's some god-awful films in that. So yeah, most of the films I've kind of recently watched are all superhero ones. So
Logan was a reboot, and that's probably the best Wolverine film out there. So it does work sometimes.
Sometimes. But then X-Men 2, classic.
Kirk wants to know, is the new Terminator film good? Everybody, yes or no? Me?
No.
Can I answer it by saying I've only seen the first Terminator film, and therefore I can't tell if the last one's any good.
I think you need to leave. Anyone else seen it and rate it?
Nope.
No, I mean, I probably will get to it at some point. I haven't really watched a lot of films since the lockdown, really, but I will.
It makes Genesis look like a classic.
The gist of it is, it's the new modern thing in Hollywood where you go and go, oh, there's a whole film with men. Let's get rid of them and put women in.
Oh, is that what they call the woke generation? Or
it
whatever?
Is.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed Ghostbusters, the women's version.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought parts of it were pretty good. I don't mind it. And the woman who was in the new Terminator film, she's in one of the greatest TV series of all time called *Halt and Catch Fire*. That makes a grown man weep every time I finish the series. She was in that, so I don't mind her. But the woman who was in it, who was in the original? Linda Hamilton. Alonso's put here. Yeah, she's very, very. She hasn't aged well. Bless her. She had a hard life of.
No, Dan, she actually dyed her hair grey for the film. She's not completely grey.
She's still fitter than any of us, let's be honest, physically. But yeah, I disagree on the Ghostbusters thing. And what annoys me when you bring this up is you read it, you like a lot of women are going, it's just because there's women in it. No, it's not because it was a female cast. It's because it was shit. Like that's the misconception. Like it's almost like they made it knowing that the only criticism people could say was, "Oh yeah, it's got women in it." Well, no, it's the same. Sorry to use the analogy of Alien again, but it's like recasting Alien with a male lead. It wouldn't work. Okay. It's like casting Terminator without Linda Hamilton. It wouldn't work. Just like it wouldn't work if you cast I don't know, a James Bond as a woman. For me, it doesn't work. Like there's certain films fit. And that's just the way it is. It doesn't make you sexist. It doesn't make you a fucking woman hater. It's just that certain films work and certain films don't. And that was one of those that,
Especially if they're just doing it for the sake of it, to be like controversial. We can smell that a mile away if they're just deliberately doing it, and you just think, no, can't be. But what was that?
Is that like when they keep releasing Alien films?
When they done Suicide Squad with when they done Suicide Squad with all, what was it, Birds of Prey?
Yeah.
It was so bad they had to rename it, didn't they? The Emancipation of Harley Quinn or whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
Chancellor went and said it was shit.
Yeah, and anyone who criticised it said, "Oh, it's just because you're sexist." I said, "No, because the trailer looks crap,and everyone I spoke to said it was a terrible film."
Yeah.
So
the only people that were going to see it were horny 14-year-olds who were like, "Oh, Harley Quinn," and it's like that was it. You know, it's like, really? Okay.
I think Sir Antonio sums it up perfectly. Like playing Ozil in midfield, it doesn't work.
Oh, Sir Antonio, stop bringing this back onto football. We are strictly not an Arsenal podcast anymore.
We're not an Arsenal podcast.
It's my turn now. I'll go last. It's films that I could watch at any point when they're on. You put one in there, Josh. The Prestige. So good I bought it on Blu-ray. And then when I got a chance to watch it, and at the twist at the end, I went, "What do I think about that shit? It was all right," and nearly fucking hit her. Yeah. Life of Brian.
Wolverine.
Yeah, yes. Life of Brian. Although I watched that from start to beginning recently, and it wasn't as good as I remember. But in bits, Magnificent Predator. I can hear Kris smiling. I'm reading at the moment. Gladiator. Don't judge me.
I haven't seen that.
How dare you? Any of the first 4 Rocky films?
You've gone well over 3, mate.
Yeah, I was going to say, in the limelight.
Any guy
You've named 4 films in one answer there.
And the answer to Chris's one, any that's your guilty pleasure.
Oh, I didn't answer it, did I?
Love Actually.
Yeah, go on.
Every Christmas, Love Actually.
Oh,
I hate that film.
Right. Okay, shut it down, everybody. That's it. Shut it down. We're done. That's it. Get out.
It's a film with terrible morals.
What's wrong with that film?
What's wrong with what?
That's got Gavin and Stacey woman in it, naked. What's wrong with that? And a Hobbit.
Yeah, you just Google that.
I don't know what you've been watching, mate, but that does sound like Love Actually to me.
It's like a great night in, doesn't it?
So answer your own question, Kris. I think everyone's answered it now, haven't they? Guilty pleasure.
I got loads, to be honest with you. I have got loads. Titanic is definitely a guilty pleasure.
Easy.
It's a brilliant film. Like whatever you think of, it's a brilliant film. Romeo and Juliet, the DiCaprio, Claire, what's her name? Claire Danes? Yeah, Claire Danes. That's classic. Meet Joe Black with Brad Pitt and Anthony Hopkins. It's a long one, but it's a good one. It's a bit of a romantic-y film.
The profile.
What else? Looking down my list of films, I don't know about I don't know
Nude
if I have
Nuns with Big Guns. Is that one down in there?
That's yeah. Debbie does Dallas, obviously. I don't know. I mean, I have got certain ones that are a little bit tear jerky. I mean, like Nicky said, the classics like your Grease, your Flashdance, your West Side Story. It's a bit of a classic. But yeah, cheese. No, I don't mind. I don't mind a rom-com or a bit of a cheesy film as long as it's got a purpose. Like the ones that they kind of bug me. Bridget Jones is a classic example. I don't mind Bridget Jones.
I love them.
I genuinely don't mind it. But the problem I have with it is it would never happen. It's like Love Actually. It would never happen. Like if you looked at if you were sat in with this, maybe not during this lockdown, but if you were sat indoors and you heard your doorbell ring, much like in Fever Pitch, and you looked out the window and there was some twat outside with cue cards, you'd think, oh yeah, the fucking regular nutcase. Oh, the police would be around in seconds.
Is that the guy that stalks that woman relentlessly? Films, keeps a video of that, prints it, definitely masturbates to it.
Yeah.
Then goes around her house, with a load of placards, and the response to that is for her to kiss him.
Exactly.
So where's the moral high ground in that? Sorry, I thought this was a feel-good film.
Whereas
not...
we all know in reality, all that ends with is a restraining order.
Yeah, How to Train Your Predator. Is that what the film should be called?
Exactly, the Michael Jackson story. But yeah, I don't know. I think if I don't mind a love story, I don't like Meet Joe Black is a prime example. It's like a story of well, I won't spoil it, but one of the main characters is not really in it, kind of thing. I can't really explain. You have to watch it.
I've got my guilty pleasure.
Oh, at last. But yeah. Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, I'm not even going to dignify that with a response. But yeah, rom-coms are all good. They're all good. They're fine. And whether you're single or taken, it doesn't matter. There's nothing wrong with them. Is Rocket Man, would that be classed as a guilty pleasure? Because that was
brilliant. And the Queen one. Both brilliant.
I thought Rocket Man was awful compared to the Queen one.
Did you?
Yeah,
I haven't seen one. I haven't seen
I preferred Rocket Man. There's a lot less bumming going on.
Even
You don't want that. Sorry, Ellis?
Bohemian Rhapsody, the Queen one, is amazing. I was saying that to Silly the Day that I need to rewatch that because if you like Queen, you'll love that. Like the end scene with the Live Aid thing. It's amazing.
I need to see that. I've got it. I've had it downloaded for about 3 years, and I just haven't watched it yet. I need to watch that.
You missed out on a trick watching it in the cinema though, because obviously a lot more immersive seeing all the songs in the cinema than it is at home. But quite wouldn't recommend it.
Should we jump into Shredder's?
Alice, I watched it over at the Showground last summer.
Oh, what, outdoor cinema?
Yeah, that was good.
That was quality.
Yeah.
Oh, actually,
Did you get all teary near the end?
What?
You what?
Did you get all teary and welled up at the end of that film?
No, not as much as I did in Avengers.
Oh, right.
Oh, God's sake.
When Iron Man died.
You just reminded me of another one there, Nicky. Greatest Showman. That's
every Christmas, me and Sean, I listen to the soundtrack.
I actually run to that soundtrack. It's so uplifting. It's so good. I love it. It's brilliant.
And when that woman goes to solo, brings a tear to my eye.
And
when Kris sprinting down Plymouth with "This is me."
when you say sprinting, it's more like a gentle sort of like dragging my leg like a zombie kind of.
Don't undersell yourself, mate. You do sub 8 minute miles. That's quality.
Well, I take that, but yeah, it's real, and it's one of those films that it was one of those. Archie, never enough. It's one of those films that when the person I was watching it with said, "Oh, I really like this. Can we watch this?" I did that sort of thing where I politely went, "Yeah, okay, dear, yeah, that sounds really good." And inside, every part of me was screaming and dying in equal measure, going, "Oh my God, this is going to be the worst 2 hours of your life!" And I sat there completely, I was glued. I bought the DVD straight away. I even bought the sing-along version on Sky.
I tried this Christmas to find it showing at the cinema with a sing-along version for me and Sean to go and watch. Not that I was sung along, but
there's talk they're going to do a musical, isn't there? There's talk they're going to do a stage show, but it's whether they can get Doodah Aussie Man in or not. But if they do a second one or whatever, that was so good. And musicals are, they're all right. There's some terrible ones, but there's some pretty good ones as well. What's the one with Jack Black with the kids? What's
School of Rock?
Yeah. We saw the play version of that, like the Andrew Lloyd Webber theatre production, and the kids all played the instruments. So good, so good. So yeah, that reminded me of that. But we should do Shredder's question.
Oh, before we do Shredder's, another quick poll. Shredder and OG and quite a few others have said The Gentleman. Has everybody seen The Gentleman?
No.
I watched it recently. It's just typical Guy Ritchie film. It's amazing.
I love every second of it. Is it what?
Is it new?
Yeah,
it's in the cinema at the moment.
January time.
Okay. Yeah.
You can get it from our special place, Kris.
Right. The one that with the ladies with the. Okay, cool.
No, not that place. I'm banned from there.
Okay.
Yeah, but yes, it's brilliant. That's it. You get it from the bins out the back. Fantastic film. Loved every second of it. And Hugh Grant. It was
Cockney quality.
Fantastic. The whole film. Anything.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate Blockbuster Video? Because Danny, you're as old as me. Well, older, if you can believe that. But it was. I mean, it was a classic. I mean, those days where you basically you'd be wooing a young lady, or you'd be a bored teenager, and you'd be like, "What can I do on a Saturday night? Done bowling, done cinema." It's like, let's go to Blockbuster, and you would just walk around these aisles of wonderful VHSs back in those days. and like sometimes it was hit and miss. You'd either go in with a clear I want the latest release, or you'd go in with like a fiver and a dream, and you'd be like, right, okay, I can afford a packet of M&Ms, a bottle of Coke, and a terrible film. Let's see what we end up with. And I mean, I've watched some terrible films from Blockbuster Video, but
very misleading. You judge it on the covers because you
Yeah,
have no idea. You'd ask them what's
You
good.
look how they organised them in price as well, so I knew if you
Yeah.
had no money, you could just know, oh dear, he's watching some crap. No, the 99p section.
yeah, and they always had that guy who was working behind the tills, who was like Randy from Scream. Basically, it was always like the local kind of dude bud pal kind of guy. You know, wore like trousers around his ass and skate shoes and big floppy hair. It was always the same guy who worked in those shops. But yeah, they were good. They were really good. And if you had a local lower version of Blockbuster, like literally a newsagent that did video releases, you'd always be able to nick at least 3 films a year and they wouldn't notice. So yeah, good days.
I'm not going to say this is an actual fact, but we maybe used to go down there in the about 94 to 96, the one in Huntingdon, get them to go out the back and get a film that we knew they didn't have on the shelf, and then nick all their what's the sweets there, the jelly bean things.
Oh,
The
yeah.
entire counter of all of those. Allegedly, not me. I read it in a book. Talking of reading, some of the chats you lot are having in there. So Antonius, he says he's talking to Phil Macker. He says, "Well, the book was better than the film," and Phil Macker replies with, "Thanks, Sir Antonius, but I stopped reading when Footy Manager was invented." And Big Bunny, Josh has put your question into our chat to come back to later. But Kris, talking about questions we're coming back to. Go.
Yeah, so Shredder's question, I forgot. See, this is what happens. You said to put it in the chat and you didn't. What was
Most
it?
overrated film.
Overrated, yeah.
I've got this at the top of my head if you want it. Skyfall, James Bond.
I mean, yeah.
Next.
Go. I haven't seen it yet. I'm
No
watching
bother.
the Craig Bond films. Well, I'm planning to. I've got them all downloaded from Sensible Places. Promise.
Save time, Chris. Just go down to B&Q if you're allowed out at the moment. Get some paint, throw it at the wall, then watch that. And then when that's dried, throw it at the wall again, and then repeat.
And then draw a picture of Daniel Craig in your own feces over your baby wall.
Yeah.
Sounds like a night in.
You can watch Casino Royale. That's a good one, but Skyfall's awful.
Overrated films. I see. I'm probably going to upset at least 2 people in this chat box now by saying anything by Marvel. I don't get it.
Go fuck yourself.
and it's not that they're bad. I'm sure they're very good, and I know
It's just you've got terrible taste. That's it. That's
Well,
fine.
maybe-
We'll accept it. We'll end it there.
maybe.
Tell him again.
Go fuck yourself.
You can have Thor 2. That's terrible.
They're not all good.
I just don't.
They're not all good. I understand that.
I just think they're all like they're all the bloody same, basically. Like they all seem to be the same. It's like, oh, what are we going to do? There's a big something taking over the world. Let's wait for a man in rubber to come and protect us all.
Favourite films are the same thing over and over again. An alien goes in someone's mouth, pops out their chest, runs right for a bit, and then gets killed. But it doesn't actually get killed because they'll find it again in the next film.
I don't know what version you watch. That sounds a bit, but no, I get it. I think that when, and it's not that they're not good, but the subject is overrated. And for me, like, you know, when you I'm going to call you out on this, Mel. When you have people saying their favorite film of all time is a Marvel film, like part of me dies. It's like that can't be true because they're not that good.
It makes me want to say it even more. To be fair,
yeah.
But for me, let me argue my point.
Yeah.
That was like all I used to read and like watch when I was a kid was comics. I used to watch all like the Spider-Man cartoon on, I think it was Fox Kids. That's like a England reference for people who don't live in England. But yeah, I used to love all that, and to see that like reimagined and to all come together in like the biggest crossover film pretty much ever, where so many films are all tied in. 12 years in the making is just amazing for me. But I get it's not to everyone's taste, and I think it's getting to the point now that Disney own it that it's probably going to be overdone a bit. Hopefully, with all the delays from the coronavirus, we won't get too many films and people actually have a bit more of a hunger for it. But I think they'll probably overdo it like they've overdone Star Wars, to be fair. But
yeah, that's it. It's flogging a dead horse. I do agree with you. Like, I am slightly biased because I'm not really into comic book films, so that's probably where my bias lies. I think any film as well that, you know, like, hopefully we'll all agree on this. Any film that's nominated for Oscars is always overrated. You know, when they get those films, and it's basically like here's a bloke and he masturbates into a violin 3 times a week and he plays a symphony on it and he falls in love with the local vicar and the vicar turns out to be a pedo and they all run around and then they die. Like, because it's art. It's like
where there was a bloke who was a water lizard and he was a human and they had to set him free.
What?
It was about 3 years ago.
What was it called? Something water or something. I know what you mean, Danny.
Oh, the taste of water, the taste of water, the colour
something like that.
My God, I watched that. And you watch it for an hour and a half, and then she takes him to the pier and lets him go, which she could have done in the first 5 minutes of the film. What a load of wank! You're exactly right, Kris.
I just think that certain films are like it's like we've got to be arty, and like a prime example of a film that is really arty but brilliant is The Piano with Sam Neill. I don't know if any of you've seen that. Probably not. I doubt it, but that's a really good film. It's well acted. It's well structured. It's a bit of a sit there with a glass of Chamblay with a pinky sticking out type of film, but it is a really good film. But then others where they just say, "Oh, it's a magnificent piece of art," and it's like, no, it's not. It's just fucking shite. Like, it is just shite. And yes, Josh, Alien did win an Oscar. You know the point I was making. Nickety fuck.
No, I think, Kris, you mean if they're made deliberately politically to win Oscars and stuff like that?
Like The Revenant.
Yeah, and
I don't know about The Revenant because I thought
that was built around what's his face? DiCaprio to win one.
But he should have had an Oscar years ago. He was
That's
brilliant.
not his fault. He's in films that aren't good enough.
Yeah, but that's exactly the point. He has been in Basketball Diaries. Anyone who hasn't seen that, absolutely.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Romeo and Juliet is a classic. Titanic, he should have won. He should have won definitely for that. Blood Diamond is brilliant. Which
all the flipped over shit, all in imagination, dream inside a dream inside a dream.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, I mean, like, that. So I get what you mean. It was a big whole. Well, is he ever going to win one thing? But that was just the ponces in. That's probably not a politically correct term, but that's just the people. It's the people in the Hollywood community that bugs me. It's just like we. If you ask. If you surveyed on the street and you said to people, name the last 8 top Oscar winning films, I guarantee nobody could, because they'll all be those shite art house films, or like, as Nikki said, like heavily political.
La La Land.
Exactly. Like, I'm not saying they're not good films, but they, I would have no interest. And I'm not saying they should all be bang, 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 shoot 'em ups or, violence or whatever. I just think that a film about real life is always better, or a film that you can clearly see somebody has taken the time to really make it about things and thought it through and not just gone, hey, tidal wave, the world's dead, bang. It's like, oh, well, that's original, well done. All films kind of mold into one. So that's my rant. I'll shut up now.
Well, there you go.
We were talking about overrated films.
Question again, Josh.
Which question?
Your question.
Oh, the question I put in.
Yeah.
Oh, it's from Big Bunny Kane, Tony, from the ABW Pro Clubs group, because I didn't mention them in the entire podcast of gaming.
No, you mentioned it once.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I mentioned it once. Yeah.
And you just pressed up that fucking foot for ages on the real proper game mode and FIFA as Pro Clubs.
Sorry, Danny, would you like to answer the question? I can't remember what it was.
Overrated, that's it.
Overrated
films.
I'll go after Nikki. Mine's short, it's 2 words. The second one begins in wars.
I was going to say, like Kris said, all like the political ones, but that's to actually pick a film that's been rated highly that I think is overrated. So I looked on IMDb. Godfather Part 2.
Yes, a good shout. That's a good shout.
It's nowhere near as good as the first one.
Good shout, yeah.
I don't even think it's as good as the third one, which isn't that good. It just had a better story. It's just, I mean, yeah, De Niro's okay in it, but it's nowhere near his best movie. And when I watched that, but then I watched those in order years later. So that's what I'm saying. When you watch them in a certain order and removed from the hype and stuff of films, you can come up with your own opinion on stuff. When I watched a trilogy of that, when I used to like buy all the DVDs and box sets and stuff like that, and everyone said, "Oh yeah, the second one's the best one," and I thought that was nowhere near the best one.
Oh yeah, now that I'm looking at the IMDb top 250 list, number 11, Lord of the Rings: The Fellowship of the Ring. It's a film you don't need to watch that film after you've seen it once.
See, at the risk of upsetting Nikki, I think Lord of the Rings is overrated. I got.
Shredder's going. So, cheers, Shredder. Nice to see you back.
Shredder, we love you.
Is Shawshank even worth number 1? I'm going to put that out there. Is Shawshank really a good film? I mean, it's just a hole behind a poster.
It is. Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on a goddamn minute. Looking at this list, did I just see some... What? Blade Runner? Are you actually taking the piss?
I can't be bothered to watch that, or the second one.
Blade Runner's quality. What are you talking about?
Overrated. Blade Runner is one of the best films ever made. Are you fucking shitting me? That's an outrage now. IMDb can suck a cock. That's absolute bollocks. Absolute bollocks.
Scarface, people vote.
Lion King is only at 43. Disgusting.
Oh, is it? So it's not IMDb's opinion. All right, I can get.
No, there's two of them.
Titanic is 4.
Jungle Book needs to be higher. I don't even know.
Am I looking at the wrong list?
Well, Chris, you got the
I'm looking
of what the people have voted, and the green bits is what the critics have voted.
I'm looking at one by Dark Hood, so it's not. It's actually just a random person. So that's my fault.
It's actually going on with fans, whereas Shawshank was actually rated quite low and was a box office flop.
So is the actual list that I should be looking at the one with Titanic at the top then?
No, the one with Shawshank at the top.
No, I haven't.
The one with Titanic,
I'll follow the link. Carry on.
The box office, Chris.
Number of votes.
Oh, okay. So
there you go. Is that one with Inception?
Danny, send me the link. I'll get in the right one.
Is that where Inception is number 2?
No.
I've got itchy nostril. Well, fuck it. I'm not looking at this list.
I was at user rating. That's what I went by.
I'm going to this. I'm going to
Shawshank at the top, then it's The Godfather,
okay.
then it's The Dark Knight, then Godfather Part 2, then Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, Pulp Fiction, Schindler's List.
Yeah, don't let me the wrong list again.
I assume 12 Angry... Sorry.
No, go on.
I assume 12 Angry Men is the sequel to Snow White.
Actually, 12 Angry Men is the sequel to, I think it's 9 Men Out. It's a baseball thing. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. No, maybe. There's a baseball film about they all took bribes, and then there's a sequel to it in court where they all get done. But that's from the 50s. My most overrated films, anything Star Wars. Next subject.
What a load of wank. Can I upset some people?
Oh, go on.
Yeah, let's just dig into that, Danny, because like I don't agree with you there. I think if you look at the first, what I call the first 3, so the original 3.
We know.
I mean, they are. Yeah, I mean, okay, if you don't like sci-fi, then you won't like it.
They are. What's it? Crossroads in space, the wobbly sets and all load of fucking shit. Carry on.
Oh yeah, but you can't. Nah, you can't hate a film just because it had bad props. This is the 80s. These were made in. I mean, like, you can't just say that. I mean, you could say Grease is crap because they've got bad props. Nah, like the original 3 Star Wars were brilliant. It was only when they decided that it was worth so much money and George Lucas turned into a money-grabbing little whore that's when it became a bit, like, for me, overhyped. So surely, I don't know. What do you think, Ellis? I think that's harsh.
So I'm just laughing at my own joke because I'm an idiot.
Did someone put that, Ellis, or did you just put it?
No, I put that on our own personal joke because I don't want people to know that I'm actually horrible to you.
You're an idiot. I look like fucking Jabba the Hutt. Jabba the Hutt doesn't have a nice beard.
No, I completely disagree with Danny. I think, it's each your own. If you're not into sci-fi shit, then you probably think the same. Like, my most overrated franchise would be the fucking Harry Potter films. What a load of shit. And that's probably a load of people.
I like the early ones.
Here's a question for you, Ellis. If Danny's the Jabba the Hutt of ABW, who's the Salacious Craw? His little rat friend.
Oh, I can't. He's no longer part of the pod anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Harry Potter. No, I think Harry Potters are good for what they are. They're good. They're a little bit.
They were rushed. They were rushed, which they had to because obviously he was growing up quick. But I see where Danny's coming from though with Star Wars. So they're good films, but I think the whole Star Wars coming out with Disney and the toys and everything, it's an event. It's looking forward to it. So it's all together. I think they're overhyped a bit. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So not for overrated, but definitely overhyped. And some people, absolutely lose their mind over them. And they were good, but it was one of the first decent trilogies of movies made, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, any film can... I was going to say, film can be improved if you put Chewbacca in it.
What's the one where you had the bird in white, where it's a one-off?
Rogue
Bird
One.
in white is a one-off.
Maybe that was it. There's a standalone one recently, a few years ago.
Rogue One.
They all died at the end.
Yeah, Rogue One.
That's the best one of the lot.
Danny, you should go into you should be a movie critic. Yeah, the film's a load of shit. They all die in the end. It's fucking bollocks. I think Nicky's got a point. Like because when you say overrated, you're automatically your mind goes to it's shit. I guess we're not saying it's shit. We're saying is it overrated? And I guess But I have a thing about, we may touch on this when we talk about TV, but I have this thing that whenever somebody, what you call water cooler conversations, where you go into work and somebody says, have you seen, it's happened recently with Tiger King. Everybody literally whacked themselves dry on the internet about a show. I immediately go, nope, I will not be watching that. No fucking fear. Nope, not watching it. Because anytime people... Well, that partly, yeah, but it's also
because someone called him Joe Exotic on his run from Plymouth.
But it's also if
there's
people...
no coming back from that, Chris. Sorry.
No, there isn't. No, you win that one. But if people if you said to people, watch this thing about tigers, no fucker would. Like if you just stumble across it and you're just talking to your mate, oh yeah, it's really good. You should watch it. Great. But it's these people that they'll only go and watch stuff because everyone said it's brilliant, and then they'll also like, oh yeah, it's amazing, and you'll be like, what did you like most about it? Well, the tigers. So you didn't really enjoy it. You just watched it because you're a fucking sheep and you followed the crowd buying as you went. Like that's.
I avoided
films
it for about a month. However long it's been. I only watched it all in the last 3 days. It's very good.
I haven't seen it. I just don't have any interest in it.
Oh, you will.
I finished watching it today. I'm a sheep.
Yeah.
Just watch it for the haircuts. Don't watch it for the tigers. Just watch it for the haircuts.
You'll relate to it.
Yeah.
The too much jewellery. You'll love it after about 5 minutes.
Each episode has a worse or a poorer haircut in it as it goes along. You think they can't get any worse than this, and you're 3 episodes in, and then suddenly another guy comes out with the world's worst bowl cut you've ever seen. And it's incredible. And you're like, wow.
And missing limbs and teeth.
Oh, yeah. They haven't got a full body part between them.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do one. Let's do one more.
Have I missed the Star Wars chat? Summarise.
Yes.
Rewind.
Everybody who's fun likes Star Wars. Everybody who isn't fun doesn't like it. How can you not like a walking carpet in a film?
That's a fair point.
Let's
ask one more film. Oh yeah, I'm not cheap, which is why I haven't watched the Throne thingy. Yeah. What's
the best Star Wars film then, Chris?
Oh, Empire Strikes Back.
New Hope.
Nah, it's a hard one. Said the Vicar to the Schoolboy, but it is. Yeah, it's a toughie. I just something about Empire for me was really got me. I can see A New Hope it is a classic, but now for me Empire was just that little bit in front of the other ones.
I'd say the best one is Star Wars 4: The Journey Home. That was by far the one with the whales. By far the best one.
For the record, that's the best Star Trek movie ever made. For the record.
I love Star Trek.
I've got a question that I want to put in regards to films. If you could have one film that you would want to be made and either remade or made properly, like what would you pick? Like what would you make? What would you have? Ellis, have you got any?
Oh, fucking hell! Talk about putting me on the spot. Someone save me while I think.
I did this last time I went to Ellis first. Ellis is a hands man. He's not a thinking man. He saves lives. He doesn't think about
Not a thinking man. You fucking arsehole.
Yeah, he hasn't saved anyone's life all week, like he was saying, because he's been quarantined, been a dirty boy.
Who's got an answer?
Happy birthday, loud enough.
Who's got an answer to that question then?
Well, my initial answer would have been Days of Thunder 2.
Ooh,
love Days of Thunder.
You've opened the box there, because we've got a Top Gun sequel coming whenever we're allowed to have films again. So that was in that same genre. I think Top Gun and Days of Thunder came out similar times.
Oh,
why Days of Thunder 2? Why would you want that? Why is?
Oh, well, I was just reading the same thanks to Ellis and Richard for their working for the NHS stuff. Richard isn't a nurse, but he does work with. He's an essential worker, as is The Offspring, which I think should just go in there to nick tins of tuna, but you don't know. I won't be giving her a round of applause when I see her at Christmas or whenever the fuck she comes home. Yes. Why would I was just thinking of films that'd be really interesting? Exactly the same reason as Top Gun 2, because it's a film I really liked. There's some bits in it that I didn't like, but just having it in modern day NASCAR. In fact, I don't tell anyone. If there's any Americans watching me, Shredder might like me a little bit more for this. I like NASCAR. I bought NASCAR. NASCAR 4, something 4. It's the latest one, came out in 2019. It's been on my Steam wish list at 40 quid for about 3 or 4 months. The other day it was down to 4 quid. Hello, I'm back in the game. Then I think, so I'd like Gladiator, but then he isn't going to do Gladiator 2, is he? Because I'm in better shape than Russell Crowe is now. But I would think films that, on a same kind of tangent, a film that's meant to be made that never got made would be Rock and Roller 2. I loved Rock and Roller, and it was originally meant to be a trilogy. And talking of Guy Ritchie, he is making that's it, NASCAR Heat 4. Well done, Bunny. Tone. What is it? He's doing the new Sherlock Holmes film. That's another Guy Ritchie film that I wanted. So there you go. That's my answers.
Okay. Who wants to jump in on that?
Ellis has got one.
I've got one now. I've got one.
Okay.
It took me ages. It's a good link between your previous podcast. I'd probably say God of War, the game, if they made that into like a decent film, that would be quality. But game films don't always work out very well, do they? Which is sad. But if anyone did a good job of that, it would be quality.
So polite. Chat box, I've got one. Everyone else would have just shouted, "I've got one," until they managed to were allowed to say it.
I am polite. You're right. Thank you very much, Danny, for realising that.
So the latest Sonic film was quite fun. If anyone wants to see that was fun.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
That.
It was. Everyone's expecting a complete train wreck, and that was actually okay. Which
it was originally a train wreck, wasn't it? Until they changed the animation because the hedgehog looked horrendous.
Yeah,
they changed it.
I think people had that weird meme they had of Sonic and like years ago. I think someone just Googled Sonic and just looked at the first picture that came up and went, "Yeah, that's Sonic the Hedgehog. Let's make him look like that."
It's weird. It is weird how gaming films don't work. Like a lot of them don't work because one I've always thought should have worked was like Silent Hill, and that film wasn't great. Like you'd think Resident Evil, they should work, but they kind of, I don't know, they kind of don't. I don't know what I'd like to see. Like, okay, the obvious ones again. I would like to see a decent Alien film, but that aside, I wouldn't mind seeing another Back to the Future film. I wouldn't mind seeing a new Back to the Future film, like an updated, not a remake. No, leave it alone.
No. Next one. Next thing.
Yeah, I know. But there is hope. Like the new Ghostbusters looks quite good. There is hope that you could make
Stranger Things featuring Ghostbusters.
Well, there is that. Yeah, maybe they're.
Well, I'll tell you what I'd like to do. It's never going to happen, and that's why films. I wouldn't say crap, but because they're making everything 12A and they're making films to make money before they make a good film. Whereas when they're just left to make a good film on a small budget, you get Joker. which made like $1 billion, and it cost like 70 million to make. And the reason they let the director and the actors just do whatever the hell they want, because they thought, well, we'll probably break even, just do whatever you want. And yet they just won't get that anymore, which is why we had a few years ago Deadpool, which was one of the first like 15 rated films that actually made a lot of money in the cinema. You know, Huh?
They didn't want to do it for ages, did they? They didn't think.
But it made so much money, and then everyone else said, "Oh yeah, let's make another one. Let's make some more stuff." And then they made Venom, which was supposed to be a 15 and quite I won't say gory, but more gory than a normal film. And then they brought out Deadpool 2 again, which didn't do as well because sequels don't do well. So that's why Tom Hardy was furious, because they completely edited most of like Venom to make it a 12A, so then they could get the kids back in the cinema again.
That's the problem. That's the problem you deal with now with modern films, isn't it? Like you say, they have to tick a box, and it's like for me, I still to this day I still think, and people like laugh when I say this, I still think Blair Witch Project is one of the best films ever made, because it was so new. It was like nobody had done it. It was in the era of the internet. The only internet you could get was AOL dial-up. Quick, turn it off before your dad comes down, because you're looking at tits slowly downloading bit by bit. That was the only internet. They're great days. That was the only internet you could get, and it was okay. Nowadays we've got the internet, so you couldn't do it. But it was groundbreaking. They made it for like £4 and a packet of pork scratchings and a can of Iron Brew. They were all, none of them were professional actors. It was all shot on handheld cameras, literally like that you could buy in a Walmart or something. There was nothing technology-wise. They sent these guys off into the woods. They didn't tell them what type of film they were making. They didn't give them a script. They literally said, we're going to put you in tents. We're going to put you in the middle of the woods. We're going to scare the shit out of you. And we want to record everything, what would be now a modern day documentary. We literally just want to record your actions. And when they released it, they put, I think BlairWitch.com or something was one of the first ever proper websites that went live. And people genuinely thought these kids were missing. They were printed on milk cartons in America. And it was like, it was properly groundbreaking. And you watch it back now, and it's still quite scary, and it's still quite realistic. But then they remade it, and the remake, it's watchable, but it doesn't have the same appeal, because it was genre breaking. It was completely new, and now everything's been done. There isn't anything that you can do now that's different, really. I mean, you get the odd one that comes out, and you think, actually, that's really good. That's really A Quiet Place is a good example. Taking a film, giving all the horror, but taking all the noise out, and just and so that's different. But no, I genuinely thought Blair Witch was one of the best films I've ever seen. I thought
it wasn't the first of its genre. Sean says there's found films, which is the type of thing it is. Films were done before it. I don't know of any. Maybe it's just the first large one, but I'm just guessing. It's a long time ago. There
were, and there have been others that have been done since then. I mean, like the first Paranormal Activity was brilliant. Like probably the first two were great, and then it went really off the edge of a cliff. Actually, no, the first one was brilliant, and the third one was brilliant. The second one was terrible, and the rest were awful. Kirk is spot on there. War of the Worlds. Do you remember when that was released, like during wartime, and they put out the radio broadcast, and all the Americans thought it was real? They legit thought that it was real, because in those days it was. My dad had the vinyl, like the actual record, with the original soundtrack that everyone knows now, and it legit sounded like a radio broadcast, an emergency frequency broadcast, and like now, unfortunately, with maybe this would open up another discussion theme, but the minute you inject CGI, all of the wonder of the film is gone. That's what, again, to use Alien as an example, that's what made me love those films. It was a creature monster movie, Predator the same, but it moved like something you could legitimately believe was under your bed. Like, whereas you watch a film now and it's just all CGI shit, and you're like, Jaws, the shark is terrible. We all know how bad the shark looks now, but there's a reason why people still don't want to swim in the sea 40, 50 years later, because they still got that image in their head of what could be under the water, and that what they didn't show you was brilliant. you imagine they remade Jaws now, heaven forbid, and it would all just be CGI to shit.
It's like Meg.
They did, yeah, the Meg, and Jason Statham punched it in the face.
It was
I love that film.
I mean, the closest they got was like The Shallows was quite good. That was watchable, but you still knew it was CG. You know, there was still so much Deep Blue Sea. You still knew there was CG, and it just killed the thing. And it's the same with found footage movies. There was that raft for, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years where everything was found footage. Like every film was found footage. And the only ones that properly scared me was the original Blair Witch and Wreck. I don't know if any of you have seen that one. That properly scares the shit out of you. It's like a zombie.
Have you got to think, Chris, back then, mate, we didn't have like HD or 4K stuff and 65-inch TVs, you know, whereas if you watch that on like a 14-inch portable in your bedroom, Jaws 1, that wouldn't have looked crap CGI, would it?
No, that's so, and it would be smaller, darker screen, and you'd be like, yeah, that's a fair point.
Same as that. I mean, I joked. I mean, I like the first Alien film. The rest of them, they sort of gone a bit weird. But that first one, especially towards the end when Sigourney Weaver, when the alien turns up again, that literally, you know, not many films, but that did actually make me jump.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
And I think Alien and Terminator were probably the first two franchises that they made a second film that was either as good, if not, in some people's views, surpassed the original. You don't get that now. Like most films now, the original is always the best. And I think like with Alien, for me, Alien is still the best. It's my favorite film of all time. But you can see why people prefer Aliens, because it was like, let's get Jim Cameron in, let's get a load of Marines, we'll get loads of aliens, we'll put a queen in. The action sequences are brilliant. The one-liners are brilliant. And the thing that made those films Terminator the same, and then again, you don't get it now, is you bought the characters. Again, Alien is the one I would use, but they were like truckers in space. You could associate with them. You could look at your friends group and go, oh yeah, that's the Ripley of my group. That's the Parker. That's the Brett. That's the Dallas. Like you could do that. Now you go and watch a film with generic actor 7 and you'd be like, right, well, he's there to die. He's there to be in the end sequence. He's there to support the heroine. And it's like, you don't, there's very few films where you come out of it now and you go, I loved the character. And there's very few films now that if they released a film now that you could go and see a sequel to a film and go, well, that's easily as good as the first, if not better. I just don't think there's many out there.
You should watch superhero films, Chris, because you basically said, oh, there's a big problem. And then you just go to the Avengers or Guardians of the Galaxy. And you've got literally that thing where you can go, oh, yeah, that's that one of the group. That's that one of the group.
Just pick them out.
You know, Danny's the Dave Bautista of the group, you know, the big, awkward, autistic one.
A little bit too much laughing for my liking.
I can be Thor from Endgame, obviously.
Yeah, Thor from Endgame. I'll give you that one, Nicky. Yeah. We've seen those photos from 20 years ago.
Sick Thor.
Yeah. Is there anything else?
14. What photos have you seen?
Danny's got them on his hard drive.
Yeah.
Runs.
big hard drive.
Trying to figure out why Nick sent a DM of Tom Cruise with an arrow. What was that?
Look at his teeth. Someone's ruined Tom Cruise for me a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
his
you
teeth
can never
are not
unsee
straight.
it now. No, nowhere near.
He's got teeth.
All right.
You could be in Tiger King with those set of gnashers.
I'll get a few more tattoos. Get myself a gun and I'll be far away.
One of his like 47 husbands he got.
Chris, yes. Maybe we should do.
Josh has got a remake he wants to let us know about.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I was going to say Spawn for really hipster, small budget kind of superhero films. It's not great. It needs a remake because Spawn's a really good.
You're actually talking about doing it.
Yeah, I did do a quick Google because I was double check and they had to redo the whole thing because of Joker.
Yeah.
But
why?
Because of how well Joker did, they kind of went, oh, okay, we can actually go darker again because it's the same thing as Nicky was talking about.
Make it 12, get the kids in.
No, they've gone, screw it, this needs to be an 18 because we need to have people's heads getting ripped off in it. So continue down that line. Top Gun with the proper ending where Tom Cruise kisses Iceman.
Is that the proper ending?
That's the proper ending. If you can tell me that's not a massive film to tell you a big pointer to say that Tom Cruise prefers The Company of Gentlemen.
And again, if you did that in real life, started seeing that you've lost that love and feeling, you would go to jail, wouldn't you? If you did that in a public place, you would be carted off quicker than you can say Boris Johnson's in.
I imagine it's got the same. It's the same kind of sexual tension that you get in a rugby scrum. I imagine in that kind of film. It's the same kind of thing.
I wouldn't know because rugby's not a sport, as everyone knows. So I wouldn't know about that.
Cricket, or darts.
Oh, there's no sports anymore. All sport is cancelled.
So David Marr, getting back on talking about football. Are we still 9th?
I believe we're first now.
We are unbeaten.
Yeah.
In April.
Yeah. Technically, the title should be ours. I think that's all the football talk for today. We've now outdone ourselves for football talk. What next, Chris?
Shall we do TV, Danny? Shall we?
We've done an hour, 20 minutes. That could be another hour.
Well, yeah, but the people love us. We're fucking awesome. Let's just go.
Ellis is the only one here with a life and responsibilities.
Exactly. We might not have this group together again, so we have to know.
What are you trying to say?
Have you got time, Ellis?
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have to do another hour on TV. We can do like half an hour.
4 hours on TV.
What do people like on the telly box? What do you like, Ellis? What do you like to watch on the telly box?
If he says fucking anything Marvel, I'm turning him off.
Speaking of Star Wars, just for Danny, The Mandalorian, great show.
I like that.
He likes that one.
I've seen the first 2 episodes. Now I've sponged Sean's Disney Plus channel. There's surprisingly little amount of stuff on there, and they haven't put all the Marvel films in the order that you should watch them, which they're missing a trick there. But yeah, they look really good with Baby Yoda. Ooh.
They've got all of Nat Geo as well, Danny.
Never heard of him. Who's he play for?
National Geographic.
Oh, right.
So you got all those documentaries in there as well. It's kind of hidden in the back of it.
Got it.
The pandas.
Just watching The Mandalorian, watching Thai King. I'm only episode 4, I think, but Scylla doesn't like it because of the poor cats. So we have to take it one by one because she gets a bit emotional.
Wait till they did 7 episodes of that, and then one bloke, I don't know, some American said to them, "Can I interview the cast?" And he said, "Yeah." And then one of the blokes tells you a story of what Tricky Dicky did to a woman's horse at the end, and then you go, "Oh, I don't know if it's bad, but he helped an old woman out one way or another." Josh has seen it.
The guy who does it is the lead in Community. If anybody's seen Community,
not yet.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing to go. But you haven't seen the guy on the jet ski yet. Oh, just guy on the jet ski is just another level.
With the sunglasses.
Yeah. He looks like how you imagine that fat 10-year-old kid. You know, you used to be in school that thought he was well hard. And you're just a fat prick.
Danny.
Same haircut as well.
No, it makes me look slim. Oh, yeah, I've got another one of our mates who has a Twitch channel, Jackosaurus.
Oh, Jackosaurus, yeah.
If you want to put your Twitch link in there, Jack, feel free. Yes, he was playing today, and he's getting a new computer tomorrow. I think he said on the Twitters.
I've slid into his streams a few times on the quiet as well.
Yes, he's busy bulking up. He's the new Batista of the Arsenal world with his all the muscles.
All the muscle.
He's building another one tomorrow. Good.
What else have we been watching? I'm a little bit partial to the bringing it almost football-esque. I'm a bit partial to the football documentaries. Not this whole thing that everyone's watching old seasons at the moment. For me, it's like Premier League years or nothing. So I'm kind of done with that. Nice pussy. But for those of you listening, and that'll sound really weird, but for those who are watching, you'll know.
For those at home, Josh has got one leg up on the table. We've realised he's one of them special people from another planet with all the genitals.
Ships in the night. Yours is cleaning herself while mine is in the litter tray having a shit. In fact, no, he's in the bathroom. Get out of the bathroom, you twat!
He sees you shit in there. What do you expect?
He knows he shouldn't be in there because the minute I shout at him, he runs out. He's a fucking idiot.
I know. Bastard. Carry on.
Yeah. So football documentaries. I'm sure we're all. I can't wait for the Spurs one. Oh, that's gonna be absolute fucking bliss.
Who's doing it?
It's the Amazon. It's the guys who did Sunderland, isn't it, and all that. I think.
No, not the guys that did Sunderland because that's Netflix. Man City and Juve.
Yeah, was it All or Nothing or something? Which is quite.
Juve was on Netflix.
Yeah, Juve.
Is Juve Netflix? Oh, what's the other team they've done then?
They don't Dortmund on.
Yeah. Man City, Dortmund, Leeds. There's a few of it, but yeah, I mean, I can't wait for that. Watching them build their shitty stadium, and the bit I'm really looking forward to is when they bring the trophy cabinet in, the empty one. That's going to be quite fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I quite enjoyed the Sunderland documentary. The second series of that is quite good. Sunderland Till I Die.
They brought that out quite early though, didn't they? Because it was about 3 episodes less, but
yeah,
coverage of a club.
I think it was, yeah, and I think that's what's interesting. I'm old enough to remember a show called Premier Passions, which you might remember, Danny, which was also Sunderland, which was when Peter Reid was in charge. It's a long time ago in the Premier League, and that was, if you can, I think it's still on YouTube somewhere. It's so good. You really get it's a warts and all one. But that is good. The Dortmund one is really good.
They all speak foreign in those Juventus and Dortmund ones.
Yeah, well, they are obviously German and Italian clubs, Danny. So that's the way
English and bugger them.
Jesus Christ! But yeah, they're quite good. And the Leeds one is surprisingly good with Bielsa and whatnot. That's quite a good watch. So I quite like those.
It's a bit. I'm not sure about the Leeds one. I think it's because Russell Crowe is the voiceover of it.
Yeah,
it
just really puts me off. I'm like, you don't understand football, you weird antipodean cunt.
Is it an Aussie rules or a rugby team? Where's Dom when we need?
Is it?
No, the Boulevard or something. Can you be racist in their language? I'm not sure you can.
Probably. So let's be careful. But yeah, so there's those. Anything like, I suppose it goes back to more DVDs, but TVs where they're showing reruns, like classic British comedies. I mean, you just can't go wrong, can you? Fawlty Towers, Only Fools and Horses. Like, they just never get old. They never get old. Like, even things like One Foot in the Grave and Vicar of Dibley, and, you know, they're all classics. Like, you can still watch those and go, yeah, these are still good. They still hold up. Not so much. I'm not so sure about Crossroads, but
I'm not sure about Only Fools and Horses as well. There's some sinister things in there now.
I mean,
heavily edited. When you buy the new box set, there's only one way. There's only one way to get all of those, the unedited versions with all the right music and all the right political incorrectness. They brought out on DVD. They brought out the Only Fools and Horses. You know, where you get the one magazine every week. And you got a DVD with it. That's the only DVD version where you had all the stuff now that's banned, including the music and the no doubt sexual or racist innuendos.
You think back to the 80s and you think back to Alf Garnett. I mean, Christ, like you just wouldn't get away with those. Just very briefly, actually, before I pass on to Nikki, the thing I said about the football documentaries. Something to this day I still love. The comedian Kevin Bridges does a brilliant, much better version of this story than I do. But he was talking about Danny Dyer's Football Factories, which, if anybody remembers this is when Danny Dyer was still sort of an up-and-coming fuck you muggle and making his name. And he went up to Rangers and Celtic. And he basically, like, he stood outside the ground and he's trying to make it, because I think it's filmed for a TV channel called Bravo back in the day, which was basically tits, motorbikes, cars, and fights. That's all it was. And he stood outside Ibrox and he sort of stood there and he's like, I've been in some fucking tough places, but this place, I am fucking shitting it. And he's like, he's big in it, he's giving it this large, real big thing. And this fat Rangers guy just walks past with the bar and he's like, "Come on, you fucking Rangers!" And Danny Dyer looks at the camera and he goes, "It's fucking going off here. It's fucking going off." It's just a bloke.
Proper tasty.
Come on, Rangers. That's it. There's nothing else. And he's trying to make out like this massive thing. Those sort of documentaries where you can tell that they've tried their very best to make it a little bit more. Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares is another one. Go back and watch the original series of those, where they're like, ironically, they're filmed in Britain. It's warts and all. The minute it goes to America, the amount of editing in those now, it's like, yeah, this isn't quite realistic. But yeah, I like those.
Aren't they?
Yeah, I think that. But then again, like Nicky said earlier on, modern technology and what sells and stuff, you've got to ham it a bit. But
he gets a share in all their restaurants as well, so he makes his money. It's part of the deal with him doing this big resurrection. He then gets a share of their restaurant, whereas the UK one, he had not as much skin in the game. And Brits, when he goes into the ones with the Brits, should we say they're a little bit more intelligent than the Americans? So he'll sit back and actually walk through a menu with them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, some of them are, and so the original series is quite good. Like the original characters are quite good. But what do you watch, Nicky? What sort of stuff do you tune in for?
I haven't really watched a lot of like live TV, like newer stuff. The only thing I watch new, really, I used to watch like Arrow and Flash. I watched some of those, but then they brought out like Supergirl. What was another one? Legends of Tomorrow, and there was one every night of the week, and like 24 episodes a year, and I'm like, I can't keep up with it all, so I sort of went off there. But the only thing I'm really watching at the moment, which I like, is like the cop TV shows, but the American ones, like Blue Bloods with Tom Selleck. That's
watched every episode of that up to about series, not season. Season applies to the time of year when the new season of shows started, and that's all bullshit. So it's series, you fuckers. Yeah, I watched it. It's got pointless. You knew every single thing. Crime, blah blah blah. Advert. 42 minutes. Crime solved. And then what happened to his wife?
She got the pay rise, so they killed her off.
Yeah, they never even mentioned it. That she was in the end of one series, beginning of the next series, completely gone. Apparently, helicopter crash, and then the brother. The whole thing was set up on where he's the eldest son was killed by an underground gang or something. Yeah. And then they went, nah, there's too much plot there. Let's just have 42 minutes of nonsense every fucking week.
Yeah, they did try and talk at what happened, and someone. That was a hit on her, though. Not sure how, but they sort of wrote that in. But yeah, I think that's usually money with these sort of things, isn't it, when they come back for the return season? Because didn't Donnie Wahlberg's partner disappeared as well, and they swapped her out with another woman?
That was because she had something like Crohn's or some illness, and then she wasn't allowed to work for about a year and a half. And then she said, "I'm allowed to come back now." And I said, "Well, no, we've replaced you with that Mexican bit. It's the right sort."
Yeah, I watched that, and the new one I'm watching is The Rookie, which has got Nathan Fillion, who was in Firefly and things like that. That's cool.
They're all basically the same program.
No, I like him.
No.
Don't like them.
No, you're not allowed. Danny said.
That reminds me of. It reminds me of old episodes of The Bill.
Oh, Jesus. I love that comparison.
Let me finish. The fact that you can just watch one episode, even though I watch them all, and it's just like one sort of crime and story in one episode, and then it's done. So it's like, oh, that was good. And then it can link up to the next episode, but most of the time it's just one and done. It's just entertaining. It's just something to watch. But
do you know what you've done, Nick? Guess who was in an episode of The Bill, which means we've talked about him in 2 shows back to back now. You fucking
go on.
Series 12, episode 5 is in The Bill. So whatever you do next, make sure Danny Dyer wasn't in it, or he'll come round here. Get proper naughty.
Proper naughty. Proper naughty.
Yeah,
I want to know.
Oh, say again, Chris. Thank you. But a lot of the other stuff, I just watched the old box sets of like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, stuff like that. And I did start watching Smallville on Amazon Prime as well, but that got a bit, well, I won't say crap, but you can tell a lot with these older TV series, especially American ones, where they're so popular that the people in charge say, yep, just keep doing another season, drag it out. And you're at that stage where you think, oh, you just finish it. You haven't got nothing else to say. All the good stuff you're saving up for the finale, where a lot of others, like Buffy and Angel, they didn't really have that. It was just like a 100-mile-an-hour every episode.
It's sort of like keep making money. Yeah, keep making money kind of thing, isn't it? It's like keep making money exercise at one point.
The same with Lost. I mean, that started off really good. Then after a couple of years, I think everyone was lost.
Yeah, because it's meant to be a 10-series run. And then the people who wrote it, J.J. Abrams didn't he get a cut? Like the people who did the Game of Thrones, they hurried it up because they got the deal to write the new Star Wars film or something. They went, right, quick, wrap this up. You kill him, then it's all done. Josh is nodding like
Then they, I think the best bit of karma was the fact that they then got kicked off the Star Wars project.
Yeah.
Good bastard.
Dave.
Yeah, with like and stuff. Plus a lot of TV around there when they had the writers' strike as well. A lot of like programs around them got affected as well because like we did have no TV, but because the writers weren't writing because they had to what all in a union or something, which they got there in the end. But yeah, but a lot of these because they still go on. Well, I don't know if they still do now, but they did then and a bit now where they go on like live ratings rather than like when people are, people work now 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Some people work all different times. A lot of people just record it on their Skyboxes or binge watch them all when they're on Netflix and stuff like that. But a lot of the old people who are in charge still look at like live ratings, what people are watching live. So I remember watching like some of the commentaries on like Angel with Josh Reed, and they were saying, oh, yeah, we want you to cancel it, end it, all right. And then he got to the end and they were like, no, do another year. He said, but you told me, and he actually, with Buffy, he actually killed off Buffy. I'll do another one. Why am I going to do Buffy the Vampire Slayer when she's dead? And he worked that out somehow.
How does that work? Yeah.
Yeah, the same with Angel. Up until about 3 or 4 episodes before the end of it, there was supposed to be another season. And whether or not he said something wrong to one of the hierarchies, they just completely cancelled. They said, no, finish it. So that's why they ended on like a cliffhanger ending. But yeah, I liked all those.
I've got a great one to add to that in a minute. But I agree with you on that one. What's if we're on the subject of like box sets, Ellis? Like you must be. You must have like a little weakness for a box set here and there, or a series or something that you follow.
Oh yeah, Scrubs. That's basically why I work where I am now because of Scrubs. And Mighty Boosh, just because it's ridiculous. I love it.
You know nothing about the crunch.
I remember the first time I watched Mighty Boosh, and I think it was like the old Greg episode, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And I thought, this is ridiculous. No, you'll love it. I was like, I'm not watching it. And I watched another one. It was like the Milky Joe one. The eyes so delicious, that one. And then, when you just like start picking up them weird little catchphrases, like Josh was saying about like the Anchorman or any Will Ferrell film. And then you'll see your mates at like school or college, whenever it was when that came out. And then you just start reeling it off and just taking the piss, going, oh, Greg! And that's just when I fell in love with it and watched all of it. Love it.
I mean, I can't eat a bowl of soup anymore now without doing the songs.
I find those
chili child.
I find those too wacky. Like I used to like back in the day, like Fast Show and stuff like that. I love, but the newer versions to me are a bit too wacky. I didn't like Mrs. Brown's Boys. I think it's just stupid.
I think it's because you're picking bad ones.
I used to love Bottom. Bottom was amazing.
Bottom was brilliant and successful stage show out of that as well. I mean, to take that onto the stage, remember Behaving Badly sort of era. They were the ones I liked. I just
Do you ever think stop watching something because you just realise it's like with me? It was Bones, Elementary, Blue Bloods, so many of those series. I just went, fuck it. No, you're just doing the same old shit every single. You're not going anywhere.
I do, but I thought, that was a big one, wasn't it?
I was going to say, anyone that wants to reference that's outside of 1980s or 90s in this podcast, shut up, Kris. Let's have some modern ones. Archer, that one's been fucked in the arse. That one after about season 4 or 5. Archer, it's on Netflix.
Never heard of it.
It's cartoons. You probably won't like it.
Cartoon.
Yeah.
What was the one that Si just put up there? He just put up a good one. Like the Office is still, I can still watch that all day long. Afterlife is brilliant as well.
BoJack is another one that got absolutely screwed. It's not a cartoon.
Fuck off, you ginger cunt. You
The problem I find with series is that it takes a lot, like from your point, Danny, like ones that I've lost count of the amount of series that I've started and then just gone, it takes a lot to get me really interested. The two that I didn't expect to really get into, but really did, and they both probably ended maybe a bit later than they should have, certainly in the case of one. Dexter, I really loved. I
used to love Dexter, yeah. Crap end.
Yeah.
Well,
that was the thing. It's the last series. I think to this day I haven't seen the last episodes, but that was brilliant. The concept, don't spoil it for me. The whole thing was great. I loved that. I loved the characters, and strangely, his sister, who in real life he actually married, by the way, she wasn't his real sister. The girl who plays his sister in the show. Wow, yeah, the things I'd do to that, but I'd give it probably the most disappointing 26 seconds of my life. But that was good. And the other one was Prison Break, which I didn't really think that when I first.
Yeah, 1 and 2 quality, and then when they got put in another prison, silly.
I don't know. I liked it. I thought the same as you. I thought when they went to the one in Mexico, whatever it was, I thought,
What they did, Chris, they went
towards the end maybe.
For series 3. You know what we did in series 1? Do that again. Series 4. You know what we did in series 2? Do that again. The film. This was my concern. Let's do a film. Let's do it in series 1.
This was my concern going in. I was like, okay, so they're all in prison. You know, I got sold the concept. I was like, yeah, but they get out. So where do we go from here? So I thought it was quite clever to get the longevity they got out of it. But I did enjoy those. And I've only just started, and people are going to slate me for this, but I never saw it at the time. I've just started 24. I just never saw them. So I'm right at the very start of 24, and I'm quite enjoying it.
How can you have a TV series where he's got to go all the way around the world, but it's all filmed in actual time in a 24-hour period? You wouldn't do that, would you? You couldn't be able to book your flights in that length of time. Well, then I'm showing
it's a wonderful world of television, Johnny. It's quite the thing. But yeah, I find series hard to stick with, and particularly, I don't know about you guys, and again, maybe it's because I'm getting old. I kind of miss the days when you look forward to the next episode, not just have it available like that.
No,
like
is on, isn't it? And episode 1 was at the weekend. I'll wait till all of the episodes are there because I'll forget what happens.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's great that you can binge, and like times like now, I'm sure people are actually delighted that they can sit and watch it all back to back. But to me, it's like it's quite nice when you can save something and share it, or watch it with somebody else, or whatever, or if you're doing watch-alongs or something. I think it's quite nice when you can watch one episode a week.
If you got something you can kind of place it, like structure it around. But like in times now, where you've got to smash everything through, I'm going stir crazy because Friday Night Dinner, which is currently in its 4th season, it's 6, is it?
Yeah,
4 or 6.
It's 4 seasons on Netflix, and then there's the 6th one. Is the new
6th one. It's the new one. Yes, the current one is just you're waiting. Like now, I've got to wait till Friday. I don't know what day of the week Friday is anymore.
I don't even think there's Friday.
I do get that.
But then if you binge all of it, like I agree with Chris, if you binge, I've done it a fair few times, you find something on Netflix that you might have missed that everyone loved at the time, and you watch it like, this is fucking amazing, and you watch it back to back to back to back to back, and then it's gone, and you're like, oh fuck, what do I do now? It's horrible. I hate not knowing. And I think that's why I hate the end of Game of Thrones as well, because yes, it was pants, but I think I would have been upset either way, because I mean there was never any more Game of Thrones on the horizon.
And you can't go on social media. Like, you can't. Like, the minute that something comes out, you just have to turn off everything in the house and mute everything because some twat will tell you what happens. And it's like, well, you know, in the old days, again, it was quite nice knowing that you would all have to watch the same episode at the same time, and then you'd have the chance to discuss it and stuff. Now it's like, you know, imagine if football went that way. Oh, yeah, we've seen all the seasons. Oh, well, that's just...
Or you loved the end of Game of Thrones, didn't you, Danny?
I've never seen it. There you go. I'm going to.
It is so good, but I would say to you now, don't bother because it will just disappoint you. You'll get up to like 6th season, you'll be like, this is great. I can't imagine where this is all going to go. And then they go, right, let's cram 5 seasons into 1 season, just let them jump across, and then let's get your favourite character and shit all over them.
Yeah, I've heard that. And
how slow they were in Game of Thrones for so many, where a whole series, like 10 episodes, nothing would happen apart from the very beginning of the first episode and the end of the last one. How they just tried to do, what did they say for 10 years? Winter is coming, winter is coming. It's here, I was gone after half an hour.
Yeah.
And that's foreshadowing as well, not to spoil it, but Jon Snow's like the main guy. You've been foreshadowing fighting the main bad guy for years, and I've had so many face-offs and near misses, and I go, just give it to let the girl kill him, sod it.
Just get it over and done with.
Spoil everything, but you just think, oh, you.
Jon Snow goes, I don't know.
Yeah. There you go. That is what he said on Graham Norton. He went, I don't know.
Unfortunately for me, Game of Thrones falls into the box marked Breaking Bad for me. No. Nor have I, and I have no interest in it. And again, it falls into that box of everyone going, "You've got to fucking see it." Like when Game of Thrones was a massive thing, my Twitter account, the amount of fucking cucks that I muted because I just couldn't. Every time I logged in, Game of Thrones, it's like a wank fest. I was just like, Jesus Christ, I can't. And it wasn't that I was just being I don't like it, so why should anyone else have a good time? It's just like I couldn't. Nothing on my timeline was anything but this fucking show, and I was like, nah, I'm out. I'm not gonna. So I've never ventured in. I was like, I think the only one that I can honestly say. I went in going, everyone loves this. And I thought, I don't want to. Stranger Things did get me, I have to admit. Mainly because it was sci-fi and it had a monster in it. And I was like, okay.
I've seen the first series.
It's really good. And it is really good. And the thing I like about Stranger Things is, again, you like all the characters. You kind of fall for all the storylines for all the characters, and there's a meaning behind it, and it's kind of believable as believable as a sci-fi with an alien film in another realm can be. But it did get me, and I really did, and I found myself following all the characters' different journeys and going, I can't wait for the next series. But that was the only one where everyone was literally wanking themselves blind over it, and I went, yeah, okay, I will actually give this a go. But most of the shows, I'm just like, I know if there's hype around it, I don't know. It's
because a lot of Stranger Things is like 80s nostalgia. That's your thing, Kris.
Oh, well, actually, that's very. No, you're right. You're right.
Mostly that.
Right.
I know a lot of people that they've got into Stranger Things because it's just so heavy on nostalgia.
Yeah,
it was. Love it. But
how about this one? Cool. Go on, Ellis.
It was a silly joke, don't worry. So Game of Thrones set in the 80s to see if that tempt Christians watching it.
Yeah.
The thing is, Josh is right. Having watched Stranger Things, I love the 80s references, but that wasn't what got me in. What got me in was the sci-fi element, and I was like, well, that will probably interest me. And then I started watching it and seeing all these 80s references. And you do that thing where you're watching something and you don't realize you're smiling. And then you sort of catch yourself smiling, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I like." That's what makes a good series for me. But that was the only one.
I think it's season 3. Yeah, latest. Is it the latest one? Is pretty weak of Stranger Things.
It's not. Yeah, it's not as good as the first.
It's one of those that I think they realise there's only so many things you can do with an underworld setting, so I think they just need to can it after a few seasons. I think they've said they're only going to do 5, and then there's because as Nikki was saying, American TV programs tend to run longer than they should.
Yeah, and they've already sort of very much hinted that Hopper is actually still alive, so everyone's like gone, okay, that's fine, he's not.
I mean, Netflix did. If anyone's seen their advertising for the new season of Stranger Things, it's quite good because they've done a load of on-street marketing to say stay at home. So we're putting a load of spoilers up, and one of them is about Hopper, and it's just like, oh, that's great bit of advertising. It's full of spoilers. The rest I didn't understand because I haven't got, I haven't watched all those things on Netflix. But I would say of the things that they've done, I think it's probably some of the best TV is coming out of Netflix.
They're calling the market.
A good point. I want to come back to Penny Dreadful in a second. Someone made a good point. The problem with Netflix is they've got all the money in the world, but people want new stuff. That's why so many series on Netflix, you get one series and they go, that's it, done. We want something new now, because that's just the way the whole system of how they're what's it called? Anyway, that's how they work. The motive operandi. What's that? The proper word for that?
Yeah, they try to make sure they've got new content on there to keep it. They're not just going, oh, we've now got season 6 of Tiger King.
But what is too much and what is not enough? Because another one that I remembered loving, I don't know if you guys have seen The Following, with Kevin Bacon.
Where he started seeing ghosts.
Oh, I thought it was fantastic, and I would quite happily have taken another 2 series of that, but I think they made 3, and then that was that. And it's it's
half the world disappeared. It went full Thanos.
Yeah,
and then they started going into seeing people. What?
But it's that thing of what is too many. Like imagine now if they made another series of Fawlty Towers. Like imagine they only made 2 series of Fawlty Towers. 2 series. Can you imagine that now? Like it wouldn't.
2 series of 6 episodes.
Well,
what's Ellis doing? What's he doing?
He's putting
just getting comfy, mate. That's all. Put my feet up.
Oh, right. Penny Dreadful. Anyone seen it? Stan the Man is.
Didn't see it.
Oh, you would love it, Kris. And oddly, they're doing a sequel to it, but the same bloke who played one of the main characters in it is playing the character in the sequel to it. I don't know if you've looked at that, Stan. But yeah, I would say Penny Dreadful. It is dark. Penny Dreadful refers to the newspapers you used to get back in the day, Victorian England, where they were called the Penny Dreadfuls because it cost you 1p and it was all full of. It was like all the women's magazines at the moment.
Oh, God.
A load of old nonsense. So I was thinking, I don't know where we're up to on this, but if you had to say your 3 favourite series, I'll tell you mine this time. 3 favourite series that you could watch at any episode at any point. Mine would be House, absolutely stunning. Lovejoy.
Oh, my dad loved that.
Yeah.
Who would?
My dad. He used to watch it all the time.
And I suppose the other one would be, at the moment I'm watching Californication, but something like Battlestar Galactica or Voyager or Next Gen or anything or things like that. But here we go. Archie's seen it. Eva Green. Do you like Eva Green? French woman.
Don't know who that is.
She's one of the main characters in the thing I just mentioned, Penny Dreadful. There we go. Kirk says, Kris, you would love Penny Dreadful. It's full of vampires and werewolves. It certainly is, and gore. Very, very large amounts of gore.
I'm a little bit again. We're treading that line of everyone is hyping up. Here's another one, Walking Dead. The minute everyone lost their shit, I was like, nah. So I'm a little bit like that.
A certain number of times in The Walking Dead, you can see a character. I'm just going to go over here and lean against this tree. I'll be back in a minute. Why? Why would you do that?
Do you know that just reminded me of something which it kind of blends into film but also links to TV. They are going to shoot a new Scream film whenever this is all done, which I'm quite looking forward to because apparently they're getting back the original. Obviously, Wes Craven is no longer with us, sadly, but they're bringing back the original cast, the original crew from the first one, and it's not going to be a remake. It's going to be a completely like Scream 5. There's a scene when Randy explains the whole, what you should never say in a horror film thing. And to this day, that stands up. It's like the whole "I'll be right back" kind of thing, where they always say that. It's so true. And there's certain rules about how you make a sequel. And that scene alone in Scream is like, it's so good. It applies to all TV series. Just reminded me of that. But I might give it a go. That's, yeah.
Have you watched Black Mirror, Kris?
No, I haven't seen that either. No.
Watch it.
again, heard good things, so that might be something that anything that is. What was the one with the horror with? It went off a cliff. It was like I think it's 5 series. One of them was in an
American Horror Story.
Yes,
Yeah.
first series, absolutely fucking loved it,
Mm.
and then it fucking died. Like when it went into the convent and all that. And
The witch one, yeah, that was rubbish.
Yeah, it was crap. And I loved the main character in that, and the woman who was also in Friday Night Lights, which again, if you haven't seen that. Fucking brilliant. In fact, I need to watch that again. It's about an American football team, which you wouldn't think I'd like, but I loved it. She's in it and she's hot ginger. That's another story. But yeah, it started brilliantly, and I was like, yeah, horror. It's kind of not you, Josh. You're not a hot ginger. You're a pasty ginger. There's a difference. But yeah, the whole premise was great. And then, like Ellis said, it just. I think it was the 3rd series. I think the first 2 were brilliant and they were edgy, and it was like. It looked like everything I wanted from like a horror kind of show. And there was another one as well. Was it House on Haunted Hill or something? I think it was called on Netflix. I want to say.
Yeah, that was just one season though. Ended a bit poop.
Oh, was it? Yeah. Again, I thought it just went like so. Yeah, but Black Mirror, I will give a go.
Don't bother. It's overrated and shit.
one says one thing, one says another.
I don't like Black Mirror.
Did anyone watch Vikings? Because I remember watching that and thinking that was quite good. And then I got into like season 3 and then I couldn't get back into it. But I don't know if anyone's like still going strong with it.
I haven't seen it, but I might watch it. I hear Edge or Adam Copeland, as some people know him, the wrestlers in it. So I kind of made me think, I might give it a watch.
Oh, there's something you want to watch then. Kris, Big Show, he's got a new Netflix series.
I know, I've seen that advertised.
Yeah, Danny, you're great in it.
And one day I'm going to get Danny just to go like that on show. Yeah, I'm going to get him to do that.
Vikings is really, really good. It's slow at the beginning, but then at the end, because it's roughly based on like Archie put in here. Once Ragnar died, Vikings died. Well, you know he's going to die because he's not alive now. Lothbar, Ragnar Lothbrok. They're back in those days. You only lived to about 50 or 60, and that entire film. If you go by historical events, I read a woman, a history expert. She did a timeline of all the things that actually happened in it, like the things when they come over to England and they fight the king. That would have had to. I think that covered a 200-year period of human history. But it's some of the ways he gets into drugs and then in the final series they killed off all but I think one of the original characters. Well, you have to die, but it's just really annoying. I've not watched it. They've split the last series into 2 series again, or 2 parts as usual, and I've not seen the last 2 of the current one. And then they're waiting about 6 months before they show it. But they're just milking it, and you think you want to watch it for the people that you like. There you go.
I just noticed I'm being trolled. I'm being trolled in the chat box. I want to mention actually Orpheus has just reminded me. Yeah, the clear hearts, full eyes can't lose. That was clear eyes, full hearts can't lose. That was the tagline from Friday Night Lights. Black sails. Yeah, very good, everybody. Very good. You're all very funny, you fuckwits. What was the other piratey one? What was that one? That was Black. That was it was Black Sails, wasn't it? Yeah,
really cool,
I like the first series. Again, it went off a cliff. I got the first series. I was like, yeah, this is great, and then it just went a bit. I don't know. It was all like, what is it? What's the modern obsession with putting sort of softcore porn in shows to make it edgy? Like, do you know what I mean?
Do you remember Spartacus? That was one for that.
Yeah, that
loads
was
of blood, loads of boobs. It was amazing.
Yeah, but like if I want that, I'll go on the hub. You know, like I want my porn proper, not sort of half-assed. You know, so I don't know. I think
print that on a t-shirt.
14-year-old me, like that would have replaced the K's catalogue in my era. What we're getting now, Kane's catalogue would have been gone. I'd have been like, I'm watching Spartacus, because it was a sort of like porn that you could kind of watch even if your missus was around, and like, you know, it wouldn't look weird, like, you know. But I just nah. And Black Sails went a little bit that way as well. It just went a little bit kind of, let's see how many tits we can get on screen while somebody's slitting somebody's throat at the same time, and it was just a bit.
Do you need to go, Ellis?
No.
Oh, she's getting annoyed with you.
Well, I just said about having like there's blood and boobs, so she's definitely going to get angry with me.
Here's one for Ellis and Nick. Kingdom. Did you ever see that Stephen Fry series where he was a solicitor set in the Norwich area? Oh, wonderful! I just love Stephen Fry. I'd make him King of England if I had my way. Man's absolutely.
I want us to answer your question, Danny. Ellis can go first. What was it? Three shows?
Like with the film, 3 TV series. You can just watch any episode at any time, in any order. You just love them.
I said 2 already, so Scrubs and Mighty Boosh. I can watch that whenever. I don't know. I'd like to rewatch Game of Thrones without knowing the ending, and then just be told that, oh no, they never did the final season. You just have to make it up in your head.
Don't leave that to Kris. Porn.
That's you, fucking pot kettle black.
I really enjoy I tell a lie. I really enjoy Luther or any of the sort of
Yeah, but I've got a little
Line
bit
of Duty. I've rebinged Line of Duty loads recently. But yeah, Luther and Line of Duty, I like them too as well.
Line of Duty is really good. Sean's mum's just going through that. She just finished series 3. I said, yeah, they got a unique way of getting rid of the main characters. Wow. Richard, Cactus Cash just put his 3, Blackadder, Scrubs, Buffy. If anybody else has got their 3, if you put them 1, 2, 3, we'll read them out. Anyone else here want to say one?
I think it depends, because you've said if you can watch it in any order. There's some shows you've got to watch back in order. You can't just pick up and you can't see, oh, that's popped up on Sky or whatever. I'll jump into that episode, doesn't matter what it is, kind of thing. Yeah. I think it's things like Top Gear. You can just jump into one of those irrespective.
Specials. Any special.
Yeah. You can just drop into that and it'll be fine.
Any David Attenborough thing.
Yeah. I think that's the same kind of thing. Comedies, I think one at the moment, I would say something like Friday Night Dinner, which I already mentioned in the chat box a couple of times. And the fact that that's being, new seasons of that's worth going through. But I don't think you can pick that up at any time. All-time classic Simpsons, you can pick any episode up of that again, and it's just going to be good. I have done Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'm just going through that again. That's got new season 7 out it was season 7 in the UK. Season 7 is out completely in the US. It's not a thing that fucks me off. We're kind of in a global world now. We don't hold back episodes of EastEnders for you guys. Come on, sort us out. Sort us out with good programs.
Friends, The Office, and Family Guy. But talking about series back, Josh, I used to watch Chicago Fire. Then they had Chicago PD, and then they had the Chicago one in America. Although there were different seasons, series, whichever way you want to call it, they'd have a Christmas one where all 3 would be mixed together. But in the UK, they would just not show the episodes because 3 different channels had the rights to show the things. So that's another one I stopped watching. No point.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I could drop back into, as Ellis has suggested, Peep Show. I can't just drop back into an episode of those because there's some of those episodes I just can't watch back.
Why?
They're just so cringy. I just curl up into such a tight ball and implode. I just can't deal with them anymore.
I think
the dog episode. The dog episode. I can't watch that one again. It's just too cringy. the dog episodes that I think is called Mummy.
I'm not sure.
Is that? Yes. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. It's shitting everywhere.
No. The dog ends up somewhere, shall we say? The dog doesn't come to a great end, and someone's just eating turkey out of a bin bag. Let's put it that way.
Get such good-looking women. Anyway, Zoidberg says, "It crowd, everyone loved Raymond, South Park."
Can Zoidberg please change his name then if he's not going to put Futurama in his top 3 shows, but have him guy named after that. Zoidberg, sort your life out.
Phil Macker, Banana Splits, Home to Roost, and The Tenants, Doctor Who. The Tenants, Doctor Who is the best one. I don't think anymore. Yes, and there you go. There's another one. They decided to put a woman in it.
That's really good, though. That's really good with her in. A lot better than the previous couple of seasons. I do like her in charge. Great British Bake Off, because we mentioned IT Crowd and Mighty Boosh. We're going on Noel Fielding. Hey, there's a Gooner on it next year. Matt Lucas is host.
Is he?
Friend of the pod.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, Sandy's going.
Bless him. Anyone but that other brat, but yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan.
I love
of him.
it.
I think he's
Okay, great.
What about you, Nicky? What floats your boat?
Well, I suppose. I mean, I said him before. Buffy, Angel, and Friends. I used to watch that with my sister growing up, so I know all those pretty much front to back. So I would watch any one of those episodes and just start saying what they're saying before they say it.
If you'd have had Xena Warrior Princess, I'd have just cut you off now. I'd have booted you out.
No,
That was like a trifecta of
Hercules,
nerd,
though.
isn't it?
It saddens me. What?
I said I watched Hercules, though.
I don't know what that is. So you get away with that.
Is that the Disney cartoon?
No,
Hercules?
that's the
There was a
that's
series.
what come before Xena Warrior Princess.
Oh wow!
Yeah. It's like the build up to it, wasn't it? Or like the
Yeah.
preamp to it. Yeah.
Ignore it. You see her topless in Spartacus, and she's also a main character in Battlestar Galactica.
Trust you to know that.
And I've got to have another one because I don't really. Well, it does count, but you guys probably don't get it. Which is Dragon Ball, so
Oh, it does
anime
count.
and stuff like that. Yeah, but you lot don't think you like that sort of stuff, so.
Right.
No, but it's your choice. You can pick whatever you want. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but that's 4,
you like.
so I'm having 4.
I struggle to have 3 as well. I think I'd probably have to have 4.
Team.
But yeah, I would have. Yeah. No, I think The Office would be in there.
Oh.
I think Peep Show would be in there. I
Crackers
think
and
both. And I have to stress the UK Office, not the American Office. I have tried the American Office, but it's not. No, it's not the same. It's just not the same. And the thing that I loved about the English Office was, again, it ended at exactly the right time. You loved all the characters, even the characters you hated. You still loved them. Even the fact you hated Brent, that moment when he has the "fuck off, Neil," like just that, the way that line is delivered, and the way that is, it's just a culmination of everything. Where you go, I think this guy's an absolute twat the whole way through, but you're rooting for him at the end. The ability for a show to bring it all the way around, and of course the Tim and Dawn kiss is quite. It still brings a tear to my eye. Yeah, so that's a classic. Peep Show, like Ellis and Josh have said, like. There's just, I think the thing that I love about Peep Show is, again, it was like the Blair Witch thing. It had never been done before, and you can relate to it. You can watch it, and whether you're the Mark or you're the Jez, we all do that. Like, I'll walk around the house sometimes in my head talking to myself, not in a mental way, but like in a, you just, or you'll walk down the street and you'll see somebody, and we all say that we don't judge people, but we all fucking do. Or you're in the supermarket or something, and in your head you're saying these things, and you know, even if it's a friend that you actually really like their company, in your head you're just going fucking like, you know, do you know what I mean? So I just think that the way that was shot, and wasn't it done with? Didn't they have literally cameras strapped to their heads and stuff, like on poles and stuff? Like, it was done really budget with like gaffer tape and whatever. And some of the outtakes on YouTube are brilliant. So I'd probably put those 2 in. I think anything crime orientated I would put in as well. Like, I just really like crime documentaries, which I know is a bit weird, but I find it fascinating when they do, like, there's a lot on Netflix where they sort of break down, you know, how this crime was solved, or how they found forensic evidence from 20 years ago and brought it to the modern day. Like, I think stuff like that is really fascinating and also quite scary, because you should
watch Tiger King. That's all about crime.
Yeah, again.
Yeah, we've got someone new here, so I'm going to read their comment out. This is Mayor of possibly Albuquerque. I'm guessing that is. I was so excited for a female Doctor Who. I mean, going to the cons, that's the conventions, I always felt left out, not being able to sexualise the Doctor, as I am straight as a $1 bill. And when Jodie was cast, I was excited. She was given a rise or 2. She has given me a rise or 2 in the past. But here I am, finding the story shit. Sigh. There you go, Mayor of Albuquerque. She was magnificent in Broadchurch. If anybody hasn't seen Broadchurch Series 1, that is probably one of the best 3 whodunits you will ever see in your life. Absolutely stunning. Oh yeah, look at Nikki getting in on the Twitch comments. Doctors and nurses are women. Women and nurses are women. You live here, Ellis, and if you get injured, you'll have to go to his hospital, and then you'll be left in a trolley in your own, knee deep in your own feces in the broom cupboard for a month.
Yeah, I remember that, Nicky.
Yeah.
Ellis, I've been to the A&E 3 times in 6 months, and they all saved my life, and you had a day off. So there you go.
I have got one cheesy guilty pleasure, which you're all going to laugh heartily at when I tell you. Still got. Yeah, naturally. I mean,
Homes under the hammer.
Homes under the hammer. And then she stairs going up to the bedroom, and then she has stairs that go up to the bedroom. Can't Pay will take it away. All the classics, Jeremy Kyle. No, I do still have a soft spot for Dawson's Creek. Growing up, it was just one of those kind of teen dramas, alongside Heartbreak High, if anyone remembers that. It was like, I don't know, there was something about a young Katie Holmes and her lovely nipples, and James Van Der Beek and Joshua Jackson and the rest. And what's the lady? Jennifer. Well, her name was Jennifer. What's her name? She's in The Greatest Showman. Michelle. Her. They kind of made their careers off the back of that, and it was. You watch it back now, and it hasn't aged brilliantly because a lot of like kids nowadays, it's a different era, but. It was kind of lovey-dovey, but it was relatable, and it kind of made you go, yeah, okay, I can kind of relate to this. It is a little bit high school. It is a little bit kind of real to life, and I can kind of follow along with it. So, yeah, I think like 20 years ago, you'd be like, oh, God, you're so gay. But now I still like it, and I'm actually going to watch them back because I think I kind of still enjoy them. So I don't know if anybody else has got a cringy guilty pleasure or not. Don't all speak at once, though.
Yeah, I think Lovejoy would be mine. I say them that I love Lovejoy, and in fact, in the UK we get for some reason we get American Forces TV, and they recently showed every episode of Miami Vice. So I've got them all saved on my Skybox. I've got a 1 terabyte, a 2 terabyte one, so they're all on there, and I've got loads of Lovejoys on there. But I think Lovejoy, people think, why the hell would you be watching that? Hold on. The mayor of Albuquerque has replied, guilty pleasure, anything David Lynch. I mean, not just his work, but him as a person in general, utterly amazing to watch.
Yeah, good shout. Yeah, good shout. And Loki's coming with Grange Hill.
Ellis, which one's yours?
Yeah, Ellis, tell us which one yours is.
Yeah, Ellis. So
what's yours, Ellis?
Take place on an island.
It's fucking Love Island, right?
Oh, God.
It's like a weird social experiment. I quite enjoy it. I don't watch it all the time.
But do you watch it because you enjoy it, or like me, do you watch it because you sort of do that thing where you watch the TV and you go, my life ain't so bad, actually. My life isn't actually that bad. Like, because it's just so fucking cringe, isn't it? Like, I don't know.
I never watched it until I moved in with Scylla and she watched loads of it, and I was like, this is horrible, it's disgusting. But then you actually do get like a bit invested in it, and you're like, this is just like, they're just terrible people. It is.
Yeah,
it's like a social experiment, and I find it quite interesting. Like,
if you went up to a woman in a nightclub and talked to them like these fuckwits do on this show, I mean, you wouldn't have bollocks left, would you? Like, or would you? Maybe this is the shit that works these days. I don't know, but I cringe watching. Like,
probably have to be a lot more better looking with better muscles there.
Yeah, that's a fair point, actually. Yeah, I suppose Big Brother would have to be in there as well as a cringe.
Oh, I love that. That's the only one I watch. I've seen every series.
Well, I did love it, but then again, after the first 3, maybe 4 series, it wasn't about the social experiment anymore. It was all about, right, what character can I play to win the show? That's what it became. It was like, how can I become a celebrity? I think maybe Jay Goody's series was probably the last one when they weren't going in there just looking for fame. Like the first series, again, it was your Blair Witch, wasn't it? It had never been done before. It was a whole kind of concept that people were completely alien to. I'll still never forget the whole "don't say fuck or bugger" thing from Bo Selector on Sabina. I just, but that I don't think. I mean, maybe we are only one step away from like a 24-hour live show of streaming of people. I suppose you get it on Twitch now, don't you? People just filming themselves sleeping. But that back in the day, for you to have watched all the series, Danny, that's commitment, if anything.
What are you on about?
Big Brother.
Yeah, I didn't watch the teenage one, and I think there was another one where you could. They had about 50 people lined up outside. You could vote for who you wanted to get on, and this dizzy bitch won it. But I've actually I used to download all the torrents from Torrent Day, And so I've got all of the old series, and you can't even find them on YouTube anymore.
No, there's a lot you can't find on YouTube. I want to know if there's any other cheesy ones, any other cringy ones. What was yours, Ellis? Did you say? Oh no, yeah. Anybody else got anybody? Has somebody else put one in the chat? I'm sure they did. I need to find it.
Was House, Narcos, and Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad, one of the worst TV series ever made. Narcos, 10 minutes into it, I'm not watching the film. If a TV series, I have to read it. I often learn to speak English.
I really like Breaking Bad.
Brexit means Brexit, everybody.
Breaking Bad is great. Only then, because then you can go and watch Better Call Saul. And Better Call Saul is just great TV.
I gave up after the first season of that.
What, Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul?
Better Call Saul, because I had to wait a whole year for the next season to come up, and I completely forgot who everyone was and what was going on.
That's all right.
I'm not going to watch a whole season again.
It's got a roundup at the beginning of it, if I remember rightly. It does.
Well, it wasn't a good one then, was it?
No. But yeah, I recommend going back to that. It's a bit like Breaking Bad, to be honest. You need to get through the first 2 seasons. They're a bit of a slog, and then once you're there, it starts to pay off. Yeah.
Phil Mack has just said that there's a podcast about Lovejoy, and I don't know if he's trying to make me sad by telling me there is, get me excited, and then telling me there isn't. Phil, what was it?
Unless it's Tim Lovejoy.
I think
that was another amazing one.
I wouldn't be surprised if there is, Danny. There's one about The Office. There's a Peep Show one. If you just go on like Acast and just put in literally the name of a film or a series, you'd be surprised what you find. There's like a Jurassic Park podcast, and basically anything that you have watched in the past, there probably will be. There's a Keeping Up Appearances podcast, for Christ's sakes. So,
yeah.
You know,
I'd say that would be either one of my guilty pleasures or Soccer AM. Still watching that.
The original Soccer AM.
No. Still watching Soccer AM is a guilty pleasure. Watching Soccer,
I can't stand that.
Watching Soccer AM when it was good is not a guilty pleasure.
No,
when you're still watching it now, including Christmas specials, then yes.
Yeah, I just think it went.
I will still watch that.
Once Hell's Bells and Tim Lovejoy left it, it was just a bit. I don't know.
Max Ross. No, Max is great.
Yeah, Max Ross was great.
It's called Lovejoy. I'll be on that like a rat for a drain pipe.
They were though. They were just, I don't know. It was such an original concept.
When Sheephead left, that was basically about the time where you can say Soccer AM goes downhill, because they got rid of basically a lot of the cast, and they put the 5-second rule in. Which is it's not live broadcast anymore. It's played 5 seconds behind, so they can make sure they can bleep people because they had a bit too many fucking buggers.
They look back at that and go, hold on, you used to start at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning and go through till a midday 1, 2 o'clock, 5 or 6 hours.
It used to be 3 hours. They had 3 hours of live show. It used to be. It used to kick off at 9. Yeah, I used to watch it as a kid.
I mean, Hell's Bells isn't doing anything now, is she? Apart from looking old and hanging. Not been too many dart players.
Happens to us all. I don't remember. There was quite a lot. I suppose if you go back that far, like when I was growing up, and I don't know, it just shows that you remember watching as a teenager or stuff like that. But they just disappeared. Like the amount of ones that have just gone off. But there are so many that now you look back and you go, they're probably not politically correct in terms of longevity. Like everything is so censored now, isn't it? Everything's got to be.
Britain, like fall into that category with some things they used to take the piss out of.
The left is eating itself on TV and all this political correct stuff, and eventually it'll have to be hard right to get on TV, and it'll all be nonsense.
Well, there was
so only a phase.
Like,
fucking students.
Do you remember what was do you remember Eurotrash? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Jean-Paul Gaultier and the French bloke who looks like the waiter off of First Dates.
Yeah, and like that was your classic Friday night titillation with a bit of comedy. Like even going back to Chris Evans, like TFI Friday, that was that was huge, wasn't it? In the day, you don't really. I suppose The Last Leg is the closest you get to that kind of show now. Maybe Graham Norton's chat shows, but yeah, like things like TFI Friday was absolutely massive. The bands they used to have on that, and the guests they used to have on that, like that was a really big thing. It was produced by Danny Baker, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Rightly, yeah, because he was like the genius behind it, and Chris Evans presented it. But yeah, things like that, you just don't get shows like that. Like, you just don't.
I think it's because chat show formats have kind of died a little bit now. They don't really work. Panel shows are slowly going that way as well. You're not getting many more of them. Yeah. But it's because they've killed it. They've milked it. And it's just like, no one's watching Mock the Week anymore, really. You're only watching it for the little clips, aren't you? You go onto YouTube.
An extreme high to an extreme low. They stopped doing Lovejoy in February 2015 after 14 episodes.
2015? It went that long?
Jeez. No, they only started doing the show.
No, the podcast.
2000.
I was going to say. Like,
don't you hate scumbags who get you addicted to podcasts and then just can't be fucking bothered anymore?
Yes. Yeah. If only I'd known of somebody who started a podcast and didn't. Yeah, anyway. No, you are right, though. It's really annoying when you... Or the modern day thing, Nicky will appreciate this, where everything's going subscriber-based. Like, everything's got a Patreon now. So, like, yeah, we'll give you. I mean, everybody knows I like my wrestling, so I like to listen back to the old pay-per-view reviews. They're all fucking Patreon now. It's like, yeah, you want to listen to us like looking back at an old show? That's fine. $5 a month. You're like, no, I no. Back in the day, I used to record them all and have them on like MP3 files on the computer. Can't get them anymore. It's all behind a paywall, which I get. I mean, I guess it's just a modern way, but
Julian Salmon's got. Sorry, he's just coming with a great one. SMTV.
SMTV, wow. Cat Dealey. Oh, yes. Yeah. I could tell you a really rude story about that show, but I think that's probably more for after dark. I'll tell it off air. That'll tease the listeners.
Has everybody said their favourite shows?
I think we have. Yeah.
How about the one show you were gutted that ended? For me, it would have been The Good Wife. Absolutely, I had a tear in my eye on many times during that. Absolutely, well, Lovejoy, obviously, but Jesus, Berkey's just come through at 900 mile an hour. One that you were sad, so sad when it ended.
I think The Office would be mine. I think I can't off the top of my head, just because
you said they ended that perfectly, so I can be sad about it.
Yeah, but you can still be sad even though it went. I mean, it went at the right time, but I'm still sad it went. Actually, I'll tell you what. I'll give you one other. Did any of you see Alcatraz with Sam Neill?
What, the film?
No, it was a series. Sam Neill came back as.
Yes, I did. It had the fat bloke from Lost in it.
It did.
And what a load of shit that turned out to be. They used to go back in time.
No. You're thinking about. No, I think you're thinking about a different one.
I know the one I'm on about had Curly in it from Lost.
Okay, well, they did not go Curly. They did not go back in time. When the fuck did you? What did you?
Well, they had a cell door that wasn't allowed to be open, and when you went in there, or people would come out. It had something to do with all the prisoners that died. Or they used to go back in.
Yeah,
there's definitely some time traveling involved, which is why I liked it. And then it turned to shit.
It's not what I... Well, no, it didn't turn to shit. They didn't commission a second series. It just went. It just disappeared. It was one of those classic Netflix. It didn't hit the target market, and they just binned it. And I was like, oh, I was genuinely looking forward to it coming out, and then never happened. So, yeah, that probably would be one I would go. That's a shame that they didn't. And then there's countless ones that were just ended. I mean, like, I'd love to see like Generation Game back just one more time. Like, just
I'm on an emotional roller coaster, Kris. Apparently, it's called Lovejoy. Actually, it's still going.
It's still going.
Podcast.
That's Danny sorted for the evening, everybody.
It's done 40 episodes. Right, you carry on. I'm just going to go and look for it on Acast.
I suppose because I like Buffy in that. I suppose I should say Firefly. Because they ended that quite quickly because the people in charge decided to air the episodes out of order.
Yeah.
So it was like they sort of started at the end and finished in the middle. So we didn't get to, introduce to all the characters and that like we should have done. And a lot of people didn't watch because said this doesn't make sense. So I suppose that. But one I actually really liked was Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles.
I never saw that.
That was quite good, but for some, I don't know. It must have been some sort of political reason. That ended on a brilliant cliffhanger because basically it was Sarah Connor, John Connor after Terminator 2, but with what's the name? She was in Firefly as well. Was it Summer Glau? She was like a Terminator woman to help him. And I'm trying to think with the cliffhanger. It was season 2, and basically they went into a portal the Terminator came to and went to the future. And you're like, oh, we're finally gonna get to see what it's like in the future, you know, of Terminator, which is what people have wanted for a long time, but done properly, not like Salvation and stuff where they're just moping around in the desert. And I don't know why they just never bothered done another season. And but yeah,
I might watch that now because that's one.
I think it's on Amazon. That's Amazon Prime. I think what was, but it was really good. And I still don't. I'll Google that later, find out why they ended it. But
yeah, I'll have a look at that. What about you two guys?
I don't really know.
Oh, it's not like you haven't had time to think about it. That's fine.
I'm just sat there trying to think while you're going on about something.
I'll chuck in one other cult classic that's sport related. How good would it be to hear that theme tune one more time?
Yes, Chris. Michael Owen's Hero to Zero.
Damn, you fucking read my mind.
Yes, what a TV show that was. No. I'm not even being ironic about that. That's probably my guilty pleasure. I love that show. When you used to go with,
I'm gonna find the theme tune that I'm thinking of, and I'm gonna play it to you through the tinny speakers, and you'll all go, imagine hearing it one more time. Hang on,
Galazzo.
Now, let me just see if I can find it here.
Are you playing music?
Yep. Hang on. Here we go. Oh, hang on.
A good job we turned off monetization for this, isn't it?
Well, it's not that we make a penny anyway. I'm gonna have to turn the TV up now, aren't I? Unfortunately, Josh kind of nailed it.
Oh, what with it being Galazzo? I mean,
can you hear that? Wait for it. Yeah. Remember that?
Oh, this reminds me something you should all watch. It sounds ridiculous, but whilst you've all got time on your hands, watching the Great British Railway Challenge, Model Railway Challenge with James Richardson in it.
James Richardson,
those guys.
It was strangely addictive.
Yeah, they're meant to be judging, but they're just like, these guys are nerds, right? And it's between the two judges. They're like, everybody's a nerd here, right? This is weird, right? And then James is just taking the piss out of them constantly.
Yeah.
And they're all deadly serious about how much they love model trains.
Well, actually, James, I think you'll find the 420 from Edinburgh Scotsman Class 5 is actually one I've taken a great amount of time to make. And I think you'll find those trees are actually made of pure fur. So, yes, taking my time here. Yeah, they are really... I had a model railway as a kid, so...
So good. It's just like, I don't understand why I'm watching it. So that is another one to watch.
We've seen the pottery one where the fat bloke cries, not only because someone has reminded him he's actually bald.
Is this a dream that you had about yourself, or
what?
Is this a dream you had about yourself at some point? Or
no, there's one called the Great Pottery Throwdown, and he's got a little tuft of hair there. He's as bald as a fucking badger, and he cries when people make really nice pottery. I've not watched it. That's pottery.
That sounds like the artist one on Sky One with Doodah with Frank not Frank Spencer. What's his name? Frank Spencer. What's
Stapleton.
No. What's the oh God, not Frank. Yeah, Frank Skinner. Sorry, yeah.
Frank man having a breakdown. Carry on, Chris.
Frank Skinner when he's like judging artist portraits on Sky. That sounds like that. Anyway, just the thought of Jimbo sat with a massive ice cream and a paper and a Gazzetta dello Sport paper talking about the weekend Serie A. Just one more time to hear that theme tune would just be
I think
like,
we'd need Serie A back first. That's
we
holding
would.
us back.
I mean, maybe a modern day version of that, like a souped up, like imagine a Jean-Michel Jarre like symphonized theme tune. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, didn't someone tell me that he didn't even like football when he got the job for the show?
Yeah, he didn't. The only reason he got it is because he spoke Italian.
Yeah,
I think that was the only reason he got it.
Football, did he? Yeah. Man's an absolute fucking legend. Imagine being like, knowing nothing about football, being that fucking brilliant. I mean, imagine that. Certainly not any of us.
A League of Gentlemen, Chris. That seems like the sort of thing you'd watch.
Never
found
it.
You're my wife now.
Never.
Downstairs for
Never
number
found
one. That's not right, is it? No, number two. No twos downstairs.
Shows like that, only the Fast Show for me, or the Day to Day. Do you remember that? That was genius.
Yes, with Kris something.
Alice.
Kris
you would
Alice.
like that. Yeah. It was basically they had one of the most famous sketches was they did like a fundraiser, and the idea was that they got a bunch of, it never happened nowadays, they got a bunch of then 80 celebrities, and they sold them this lie that this elephant had its trunk stuck up his ass. And it was a genuine like fundraiser. You remember it, don't you, Danny? And they got like people like, I think it was Paul Daniels, and they got like Sting and like some multi-millionaire like celebrities to do that. You know the show. You know that like the little Johnny is starving in Africa and he hasn't eaten for months. Just £3 a day could get Jason a good meal in Wales. No, but they legit bought this lie, and the Paul Daniels one is hilarious because he takes it really seriously. But they had like proper celebrities reading out these cue cards about this Nelly who had her trunk stuck up her ass, and they broadcast it. It's fucking hilarious. But that guy, what was his name, Danny? Chris Allison, was it? Chris, what was his name?
I don't know, but Sean's there. Look,
is she?
And that is her mum holding her hungry.
Let's bless her. I'm going to try and find the DVD.
My Danny's spawn.
That's my offspring and the incubator who's holding her.
If you haven't seen that, Ellis, I highly recommend it. I've got it on DVD somewhere. I can't see it. It's not visible. But yeah, it's called The Day to Day, and it's so...
Day to Day, isn't that Chris Morris?
Chris Morris.
That's Chris. I know Chris something. Yeah.
And they do that lady who's on...
Oh, God. Nathan Barley.
Yes, that's the one. And they have the lady who's always like, she's the frontline reporter at the war scenes, and she's just constantly getting shot at. Brass Eye as well. Steph Selby has just mentioned Brass Eye. That was the same guy, Chris Morris. Oh my God, that was so fucking good.
Zoidberg says, bring back Skinner and Badil's fantasy football.
If you're bringing back any sports program, I would say bring back They Think It's All Over.
That was good. But again, look at the jokes in that.
He was, as you know, I like watching Ian Lee stuff, and he was a guest on there, and he said they were all C words. He said they were absolutely fucking horrible to each other. And if you were new, they did. He was on. He said he thinks they got paid $5,000 for doing one episode, and he said it was just horrendous having to do it. And you think back then, if they showed you the stuff they did then, we showed it now, you'd be going, "Oh, you can't fucking get away with that."
Like that was, wasn't it? It was like Nick Hancock and Jonathan Ross.
What's the old guy called? Lee something? Because him and Nick Hancock had a massive falling out, didn't they? Because he got fired, didn't he?
He stopped doing all stuff. He stopped doing all TV. Tall bloke, bald. Looks a bit weird.
Lee Hurst. Because he was a stand-up comedian, and he basically got fired because he had a massive punch-up with Nick Hancock, apparently. Yeah, that was good.
Weird,
fantasy football was good in its day when it was the original with Stato, and during the World Cups they were brilliant. But then again, it was a bit soccer AM, wasn't it? Towards the end, it just went a bit kind of and then off the edge of a cliff.
But it does seem with TV shows and films, they've got to a point in human history where they can't make anything new. Everything, I'll just redo that. Why is it so hard? I mean, when you're going back and wasn't it Snowpiercer, pretty decent film. They've gone, let's make a TV series out of it about 5 years after they made the film. There's so much stuff on there that it seems to be that they're either scared of making anything new. Like with cars, all cars look the same because people don't want to make anything out of the ordinary in case people don't buy it. It seems to be that's the way that films and TV shows are going. Very rarely will you get stuff that is they stop, but then you get something so original like Big Brother and they stop it, but it's still carrying on all over the world. So there is talk that Big Brother's going to come back.
Well, it will because it makes money. But again, it's there's nothing original and nostalgia sells. Like that's the thing, isn't it? If you like Josh said about Stranger Things, you know, you chuck a little bit of 80s throwback and everyone's like, oh, including me. But if you think in 20 years' time, they'll go, hey, let's throw back to 2020 when they had that weird virus thing. Like Loki's put in the chat, can't offend anyone anymore. That's true. You can't. Like I've been listening to full stand-ups on YouTube the last few nights. And listen, I watched a Jack D one, and I've said about Kevin Bridges and a few others that I've watched. And like some of the gags, even 5 years ago, you couldn't, like you just couldn't. Jack D does a gag about giving directions to a Chinese tourist, and he sort of like, and he kind of like, you know that thing that we've all done. I'm not going to do it, but you know that thing we've all done when you say about, you know, a certain type of accent, and people sort of mimic accents. Like that wasn't a thing years ago. It just wasn't. Now, and quite rightly so, it's offensive. So you can't do that. You go back and watch like 80 stand-ups. I mean, obviously not. What was the Eddie Murphy's? Is it Delirious? I think it is Delirious, the first one, or Raw. Some of the fucking gags in that, wow! Like you just wouldn't.
Go and watch Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's latest. The alphabet people sums it up. I use the term alphabet people all the time. Have you seen how my Twitter bio now says with my I suppose I summed it up there. I changed it to try and no one's cared. It says adorable, mawkish, ticklish, and moribund. Owned by 4 cats. Used to like football. Gravity is my nemesis. My pronouns are fatty, baldy, and beardy. Don't call me Alan. And everyone has read that and gone, you can't say that. Oh, I'm offended. Because then I'd go, good.
But that's the thing, isn't it? Because I think some people are actively looking to be offended, but at the same time,
well, Ricky Gervais,
you know, things are not.
I wasn't aiming at you, so fuck off.
Ricky Gervais is probably one of the few that treads the fine line now. But the thing that Ricky Gervais is cornered the market on is he was one of the first who went after celebrities. He just went after famous people and didn't give a fuck. Like, and that was why that works, because we're all sat here as like general me, he, and thee, kind of going, yeah, I agree. Celebrities and knobs. So we're kind of nodding along. But you just couldn't get away with it. Like Julian's put in the chat, Alan Partridge. Even now, some of Partridge's gags are a little bit close to the wind, aren't they? Like,
I've always wanted to know. As we've got those two here, have they pedestrianised the Norwich City Centre? Have they actually done that? Was it a thing, or Norfolk digital lying?
The best line.
Have they pedestrianised?
It wasn't even the line; it was the delivery of the line.
And do you remember the days before pedestrianisation? How the fuck did I just say that word? I'll never speak.
You can't pronounce like a foreign player's name, but you can say pedestrianisation.
It makes no sense. It makes literally no sense.
I couldn't say North.
Yeah, I don't know. North.
No, I drove down there the other month and got a ticket, so I'm guessing yes.
Facts.
Are we running out of things to talk about?
I was going to say before we draw a line under this elongated thing, I suppose chat box. If there is any questions you wish to ask, now would be the time. We can't do them all, but if there is any, then we'll keep an eye out for them, and then we'll start.
Because they'll do none.
No, because to be honest, I still haven't answered the last question.
Which was,
which one would you want to come back, or do you wish you never ended? That one.
Go on, then, answer it.
The Mighty Boosh. Deal with it.
So all that time for one fucking answer.
Yeah, that's because I've had so much time to think about it. To be fair, I could be eloquent and concise about my.
I still don't know what mine is.
No, I was going to say Plebs, and then I realised it's coming back for a new season.
Is it really?
Plebs.
Yeah, Plebs is so good.
Didn't know that was. I had no idea.
There we go.
idea
Here's
that was
one
coming
from
back.
the mayor of Albuquerque. He says, or she, we don't know. Breaking Bad, we do know. It's a he. Breaking Bad always bothered me with Mike's death. No, fuck him. No way ever Walter could get the drop on him in any circumstances. Opinions. I can't remember who they are. No, Walter was. Who's Mike?
You wouldn't have met Mike if you've done more than 2 seasons.
I saw the entire thing.
Oh, yeah, Mike's the hitman. Works with Gus.
Oh, right. Susan.
Bald guy.
Yeah. Bald old guy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Still don't care.
Also,
bit of a droopy face.
Kirk's put in the chat, Bravo is on TV in England. Yeah. I'm intrigued where Kirk's from now. But yeah, in the 80s, we're going to mention him for a third time. It was basically, it was Danny Dyer, tits. It's basically Danny Dyer, Joe Guest nipples, and cars. That's pretty much it. That was all you needed to know about.
Hasn't Bravo got the EFL highlights now?
It might do, actually. Yeah, it might do. Has it like not been rebranded?
Yeah, I think it's Quest now.
Yeah, it's Quest. And there was also a TV show that went alongside Bravo called Men and Motors. That would. Yeah. Can you imagine the outrage now?
That was Dave.
It was. That's right. You're right. If they had a women's version, it'd be like, I don't know.
These are all part of BBC Studios as well and BBC Worldwide, which is one reason why I won't pay my TV license. I mean, I will pay my TV license when I watch stuff that's live. But now that there's the internal lockdown everywhere, there is now no live sport, so I can't watch it. So I don't need one. But yeah, it's all BBC owned.
Where Kirk is from, because he's sitting on a red car and it's got
Maryland. He's from Maryland.
I'll say it's got an American front number plate on it, but it almost looks like an old Fiesta XR2.
The place where the cookies come from, Maryland cookies. Comes from.
But you don't play the L, do you? Or Maryland.
Loki's just done a classic throwback there. Sarah Cox late night. I had many an enjoyable evening.
Sarah Cox?
No.
She's someone I put in the fucking seat.
Oh no, she was lovely. Loved a bit of rough.
Fucking hate her. All those blonde bimbos who work for the BBC, there's 4 of them. They all need to get in the fucking suit.
She speaks very highly of you, Danny. She's a big fan, I gather.
Who's the other one? They always turn up for Glastonbury in their fucking wellies, noncing around, drinking fucking...
Joe Wiley?
That's it, that's another cunt.
Zoe Ball?
Yeah, there's the other one. There's the cunts. Who's the other one? See if you can call through.
No, bang goes our BBC contract, everybody. Thanks a lot for your support. But that won't be happening anymore.
Don't say bad things about Toss Daly. She's lovely. Danny Bear.
Foot tall, isn't she?
Danny Bear. She must be like 50 now.
This other blonde does that thing with a bloke who pretends to be northern. He's got a bandage on his hand.
Oh, doing Fern Cotton.
That's it. That's the other cunt. Ding ding. Hey, I can all fucking get in the sea together.
Well, it's convenient for Zoe Ball. She only lives about 2 minutes from the sea.
Presented a dating show like about 11 o'clock at night on ITV called what was it called? Oh god! Basically, the whole premise was that they had to run from one side of the studio to the other about who they fancied. I genuinely can't think what the hell it was called.
Davina McCall did one called Street Mate.
Yeah, Street Mate was great. Davina McCall. No, this one was something different. I'll have to Google it.
Does anyone watch Naked Attraction? That was
before we say Naked Attraction.
No, people getting their knobs out and their boobs out.
That was another level.
I picked that one.
There's only so many cocks I can see on a show.
Apparently, Danny Bear is an estate agent in LA.
Is she really? God's Gift. That's what it was called.
Wasn't she with what's his face? Yeah, that's the one. Don't Call Me Rodri. That one.
Holy shit! Okay, I'm just going to read you something here that has just lit me up. God's Gift was a British TV game show broadcast for 2 series in 95 and 96. It was produced by Granada Television, presented by the studio floor of Davina McCall and Claudia Winkleman in Series 2. Stuart Hall provided the voiceover for the first series and most of the second, with Jimmy Savile doing the voiceover in later episodes of the last series. There's an eye-opening stat if ever I heard one.
Big Bunny Kane has come in with another one. Supermarket Sweep with a bit of Dale. Oh,
they brought that back.
yeah, I was
brought that back
disappointed.
Yeah, it was like knobhead Ryland, weren't it? It was massive.
Yeah. No.
It's not the same. It's not the same, but
No.
a classic.
Everybody get down to aisle 3, pick up some of Dale's tanning stuff because he's looking a bit cracked now.
I'm looking for beef. I'll accept beef. Yeah. The amount of innuendos that man got onto that show.
He got plenty of innuendos.
Yeah.
Let's do it with Julian Clary. That would be even better.
Is he still around as well? Jesus Christ.
He's just brilliant.
I still forget he's
It's a knockout. There's another one.
Yeah. And if if you went through kids' TV shows, you'd be here all night. Upstairs.
That's just a stag do, isn't it? It's a knockout. Noel's house party.
Remember that was that was Saturday night TV at its
Crinkly
best.
Bottom.
Crinkly Bottom. Do you remember kids' TV show Finders Keepers? Imagine bringing that back. Do you not remember that? Oh my god!
What was the TV show that Ian Wright hosted?
It was his
on the night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right
Saturday night, wasn't it?
Was it a kids one?
Do you remember?
No.
They went to
No.
Channel 5, didn't they? They poached him from Talk Sport. He went to Channel 5.
Yeah.
It was about 6 o'clock, and he had every time they changed the presenter after every few months, and eventually it died on its arse.
Do you want to know a fun story of how I nearly got famous?
I thought you were on ABW. What's that with you?
I mean, naturally, legendary status. I've got a sword on Twitch and all that shit. But do you remember 80s show You Bet?
You bet I do.
Do you remember that?
I wasn't
You
around.
behave.
Three of us weren't born then,
What?
were we?
What did you put your hand into a box of and name every version of it ever? What was your theme?
Not quite. Not quite. Well, the show was Matthew Kelly, wasn't it? Presented it. Who was not one of the pedos, we should stress.
Proved innocent.
Yes, indeed. So basically, the show
How so? Was she 16? That was the so he got away with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the show was, there was like a panel of celebrities. I think there was 4 celebrities, and a random member of the public would come on and say, I have a talent, right? And not just like Britain's Got Talent. It was like, I can jump my BMX bike through 4 flaming hoops. I can recite top trumps back to front. And they'd have two challenges that were in the studio and 2 that were out on location. I got down to the final 2 people to get on that show because I said I could name any species of shark if they put 50 in front of me.
There's only 3. The one with the head like a hammer.
There's
One with
over
the teeth.
50,000 species of sharks, you tit.
One that eats plankton.
But I got to the studios, I went to Granada Studios and everything, and I did a run. I got to meet Matthew, and he didn't touch me, luckily. And I wasn't his type. Hair was too long. And yeah, I got walked around the studios. They did a dummy run with me, and I lost to the reason I bring it up: a kid on a BMX.
What could he do?
Fuck all. He failed the challenge, the twat. So like that's what made me feel. He was jumping through circus. It was something to do with the circus. Doing wheelies on his BMX, and the twat fell off. And
Can we do a quick poll between everyone? Who would you rather watch on TV? A kid on his BMX failing to do jumps, or some nerdy little dweeb naming 50 different types of shark?
It's a fucking talent, all right?
It's a talent, Chris. It's fucking boring, though, isn't it?
Yeah, all the challenges.
Also, the problem with that kid that could probably jump over on a BMX probably suck a basketball through a drinking straw backstage, and that's why they got him in.
That is probably true, in fairness, yeah.
Bill Macker says that Matthew Kelly did a series called Relative Strangers, and I think that was the one where they lived in the attic. We shared this with his dad.
Yes. Yeah.
I was nearly on telly once. Back in the 70s, there was a TV series called On the Buses. And that's
Crime Watch.
Have you seen this fuck?
Yeah, so 1971, On the Buses was filmed around the Fulham area where I was born. No, Putney area. And I was backup baby. It must have been early 71. I was backup baby because they had an episode on the top deck where they had babies in creches, baby thing. And I was backup baby. That could have been the start.
Backup baby? Then why is that not in your Twitter bio? If anything, I mean, that's like...
That won't fucking
backup baby.
I won't annoy enough people.
You'll be on the next season of Big Brother with credentials like that.
Well, if Matt Colin can get on. I should definitely be able to get on.
See,
change your name legally to another variant of Danny Dyer, and you'll be a shoo-in.
Danny the GF, Danny the GF Squeal or something. Just something catchy. You'll be away. Oh my god!
I've got a YouTube channel that's called I'm Not the GFP, and I've got it set up. I've just never done a show on there, so maybe one day I will, and I'll tell that story. I'll tell that story again.
There you are, dear listener.
Get you on, Kris. You can tell your story. That'll get him in.
Tantalising tease of what's to come on Danny's future YouTube channel. I'm sure
everybody find a picture of a shark, and Kris can name them for us at the second episode.
I'll do it.
I was proud of my skills.
Get all 50 types. You put them in a tank, and you have to get in with them. And as you name them, you have to pick them out and chuck them.
Actually, that'll be quite safe because sharks have got a very bad reputation.
Have you not seen Jaws? Jars?
Yes, jars. Just a fucking jam jar going through the water. Yeah,
jam jars.
To be fair, I've seen some scary videos of jars.
I can think of no better place to leave it than that. Really, jars. I think
one jar. There we go.
There you go. Well, there you go, Danny. I think we've scraped this barrel well and truly dry.
Yes, 2.5 hours, nearly 3 hours.
Good luck. 2 hours and 49 minutes.
I
do 100 views like the last one.
I do think there's one other genre that we should maybe try and get together for, which is music, because we did leave that out. So maybe if the demand is strong enough, then we'll maybe come back with the music.
Well, I'll be fucked then. The last album I listened to was Genesis the Shorts, and then fine. Genesis the Longs.
You can just sit there and host.
Press buttons.
but yeah.
Oh, here we go. Mr. Boblex, 5 men, 1 jar.
5 men, 1 jar.
Oh my god.
5 men, 1 jar.
Got it in the
show. First, it's probably the safest thing to do.
We will end it there. Thank you to all 7 of you that tuned in for this. Hopefully it's filled some time with us just prattling on, if nothing else, or maybe you're having a run to this, or doing a workout, or just making toast, or whatever it is you're doing. If this kept you company, good. Thank you to Ellis. You are a lifesaver. We do love you. And stay safe, you fuckwit. Still, fuck Ellis, but hopefully you stay safe while you're doing that. Josh,
thanks so much for that.
That's all right. Josh, you had to be here because you're the resident ginger, and we've got to keep our quota up. So thanks for that. Nick, Nick Fights on Twitch. You usually stream what, sort of midday-ish most days? Overall?
Yeah, well, all different times because I work shifts, don't I?
Yes, good point. Yeah,
got to be up at 4:30.
The best thing to do is follow, if you're on Twitch, follow Nick's channel, hit the bell thingy, like YouTube, and then you'll get a nice noise when he goes live. That's how I follow all my content creators.
It's really easy to find. It's just Nick, NickFights. That's all you need.
Yes, that's all you
We've
need.
got 37 people watching. Where the fuck have you been for the last 3 hours, you fuckers?
Well, the great thing is now they're coming in at the end as we're wrapping it up, so they're going to be like, "Oh my god, what have I missed? This is an amazing podcast," and then they can all go back and be disappointed. So,
guys, don't bother.
Swings and roundabouts.
Not worth it.
It's not worth it. But yeah, that's kind of it from us. Danny, obviously you had to be here, and yeah, if people want to follow me, they can do on Twitter or Instagram. If you like a selfie, I'm on Instagram with my cock out. I'm not really. I'm not. Well, yeah. But no, I'm at AFC Freddy 8 on Twitter if you want to follow me. Danny,
he's also on OnlyFans as well under AFC
I am on
Freddy
OnlyFans. Pictures of my feet are on OnlyFans. Anybody wants those? No
Indie Kris.
Indie Kris, yeah.
Fans account yet?
Not yet, but I'm sure it will happen at some point. But yeah, do all the usual stuff. Hit the like button, subscribe to us, and all that stuff. We like that. No sign of football on the horizon, Danny. So we'll probably be back, won't we? Talking more shit at some point. I don't know.
I did have an idea that maybe we could get a few of us on, listen back to your ABW podcast debuts.
Oh God, like you put yours up the other day. Yeah.
Yeah, well, mine was only 26 minutes. Your one was 5 hours.
You can just play the edited clip of me making rasping noises. That'll do. That's fine.
That's how much we're resorting to. Having to put shit on because there's fuck all else to do. Every good idea has been stolen.
Well, yeah, but the trouble is, there's only so many podcasts you can listen to about picking their favourite Arsenal 11 and stuff. You know, it's all good content, but you know, it's there's only so much you can.
I mean, there's
to.
only two players you can take out of the Invincibles, isn't there? Really?
There
So it's pretty much a boring one.
I'm not an expert, but I don't think Cesc Fabregas is going to come on our podcast. I've got to be honest. So
charged too much. That's what I've heard.
Yeah,
Aaron Ramsey nearly came on.
Yeah.
And then he watched an episode and now he's blocked us.
He heard Jason's on. He's like, "Nah, I don't want any part of this." But no, we're all doing well. Shout out to all the ABW missing in action at the moment. They're all doing their own things. I spoke to Dom the other day. He's doing well. He's fine. And OG is obviously fine. He was in the chat earlier on. Shredder as well. And Jace will be back soon, I'm sure. John's commuting via Skype from here to China every day, so he's a busy bee, but he'll be back at some point.
5 a.m. every day, which is why he hasn't been able to do anything.
Yeah, Fifey's moving into number 10 on Friday, I think it is, so he's a busy guy at the moment.
Simon's busy drinking his own weight in alcohol every day. Who else have we met?
Yeah.
Jeff Arsenal, he's all over Twitter at the moment, like a rash, so because he's not allowed to have his 20 holidays a month.
And Carl is currently holding London together by the width of a string. So good on you, Carl, as well. So
there's going to be someone we've forgotten.
Do you want to go in the groups or shall I? I think that's everyone. I'm sure that's everybody. But yeah, Drew's fine as well. I spoke to Drew the other day. He's all good. So yeah, I am now looking at the group.
What about Corey?
Corey's fine. Yeah, Corey is still trucking well. Fems is doing fine. God, there's so many people that I don't even know. Oh, and moving on. And Neil's fine. Chimp's fine. He's still terrible at FIFA. Still smash him every time. No, he's actually improving. We've taught him how to use chemistry and FUT, and he's getting better, which is annoying. But yeah, Chimp's fine. Speak to him fairly regularly.
He's hanging out with his new mate, Saka, isn't he?
He is. Yeah, he's social distancing with Arsenal players. So
Saka's now working in Sainsbury's, apparently.
There you go. See,
Sainsbury's is below Neil, isn't it? Strictly Waitrose.
It is. No, if it weren't going to be Tesco's.
Yeah.
No, too highbrow for that. Anyway, Danny, thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate it. And for those of you listening in delay, thank you again. Apologies for wasting 3 hours of your lives, but let's face it, you ain't got much better to do. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Danny, shut this shit off.
Ta.
Imagine what